Well, that would have been fine on stream.
I can't say
Anyways,
that on stream.
we are going live now.
Really?
All right, folks, party people, we are live again with another Pangburn live stream. Hope you're all doing well and staying safe out there. It's almost Christmas. Today's stream, musky Trumpernickel orange salad. How does it taste? The question we are asking today, besides that kind of made up, fun, lighthearted question, is will Musk and Trump play fair? Will they play fair? The supposed, or at least proposed, I guess, the advisor to the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, and this is apparently going to be Elon Musk. And he's already advertising that there's going to be merch for sale and all kinds of shit with Doge. So we're going to get into I hope we wrestle with some of the ethical issues that might be brewing here with all of these pseudo unofficial roles that are still somewhat official, but they're being made up and they're put into a position of power that's equal to official positions by the president, essentially using his voice to make them so. So I want to know what everyone thinks about these two figures and whether or not you think they're going to play fair out there and they're going to do right by democracy. Or, I know a lot of people I've spoken to think that that democracy for the next 4 years is just fucked. So I want to know what you guys think. Do you think democracy for the next 4 years is fucked and someone's going to have to come in and clean up the trash? I know we got CJ, Bucky here, and Scott to begin with, and I'm just going to share the stream with everyone. But what do you guys think?
As I call us, the two bucks. It seems like, specifically with Doge, it's just a funny name to call one of the advisory councils that Trump is making. And it seems all they're going to be doing is doing largely what they've already been doing, which is telling Trump what they think is going to be cool, and Trump going off of their word, right? It's not like they have any power other than just advising him, and they might, as a attaché to the president, have some power to investigate things. I don't know about that, though.
Yeah.
What do you see in there, Scott? You're the veteran. You're the veteran American in the room here. I'm just some petty Canadian.
Yeah, it really depends on what Donald Trump is going to do with that, with these voices, right? So it's not like Elon Musk. So Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy are now like the two leaders of Doge, the Department of Governmental Efficiency, right? So like the name in and of itself is even a meme, right? It's just not something that's serious.
Right. Well, I see a lot of people I'm not going to mention names because I think who knows, they might come out with this, but some people who I've spoken to today are like, is this what is it? Department of Government Efficiency? What's it being called again?
Doge. Well, it's like Dogecoin.
Okay, Department of Government.
Yeah.
Of government efficiency.
Yeah, it's a side chat here.
Yeah, so someone kind of made a lighthearted joke, but also was like, they thought they saw parallels, but is Doge Donald Trump's SS?
Oh no! Like I don't think so at all. I think it's something. Elon Musk is like, oh, like he thought it was like a funny troll. It's like he's having dinner with Trump. He's like, we need a Department of Government Efficiency, knowing that it's Doge. Like he's doing this as like a troll, and Trump is like, that's a great idea, right?
Yeah, let's troll the American people. Let's divide people more. It's kind of like
if you has anyone read Elon Musk's book where Doge came from?
No, what is it?
Where does it come from? El Duce, or is that where you're going?
It's his personal philosophy of do only good every day.
Oh God!
Do only good every day. By what?
Yeah.
No,
that's
by what?
By
what standard? By what standard of good does he mean in that book? I'll look it up right now. Actually.
Yeah. If you watch Jordan Peterson's video on it, the X-Men, where he talks about the do only good every day.
I mean, I don't find Jordan Peterson to be a really good, reliable resource for much, to be honest. So I'm probably not going to watch that.
It's just his opinion on what his
Jordan Peterson's political opinions are like as thin as they come for a public figure. So, I don't think anyone should waste time listening to Jordan Peterson's political opinion. I do think it's a waste of time.
I thought he did a very good psychological profile on all of them in that.
Psychological profile?
Yeah.
You don't do psychological profiles like you mean by like reading the book?
No, he did a video on the X-Men. He calls it the X-Men on his sheet, where he psychologically broke down all the people. Elon, Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, you mean what is the X-Men?
That's what they call them.
I'd be highly doubtful of like a mental health expert who's like making proclamations about somebody's like mental state without them actually being a patient. And if they are a patient, if they're calling out these people and saying this is who they are, then they're a really bad doctor in the first place.
So I think you're saying
strange.
So I think you're saying that like he's calling
them his opinion about their psychological, like why they're doing the things they do, why they make the decisions, if they're introverts, extroverts, talk, from a public perspective.
So he's using he's still using the big five to.
He's using the big five for sure.
Which is very out of date.
It's an interesting video. If you don't like them, then I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, it's not that it's not. No, I like Jordan, and I know Jordan. I like Jordan. I know Jordan. And I think he's got like I said, like the low resolution take on political issues, and this like playground stuff of using his well learned background of like doing these like pseudo psychoanalysis of people like personalities who aren't his patients, and he doesn't have them in a controlled clinical setting. Like this is like. This is like very pop stuff that shouldn't be taken seriously. Yeah. Like it should be taken very lightheartedly.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah. I was wondering what the name of the book you were referencing was, because I'm a bookworm. What was the name of the book?
The guy that wrote the one on Steve Jobs, Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
He lived with Elon for 2 years full. Like he could live with him, stayed with him, go to board meetings, saw the worst sides of him. It's really interesting because he said, if I write this book, I don't want any restrictions. And he got it. He lived at his house. He talked to Grimm's. Full access to everything. It's really interesting because you see the demon mode. You see the more, side that people don't like, which makes him who he is, but...
Didn't he come forward saying that he had oh my God, what's the name of it? I'm losing it. Autism, or is that something that other people put on him? Didn't Elon Musk himself say he was autistic?
Yeah, on Saturday Night Live, he said he was the first person that hosted it that was autistic or whatever. On the spectrum, I can't remember what he said, but yeah.
I would love it if later on you can send me a link of that book.
Saturday Night Live.
Sorry.
I'm sorry for.
This is a subject I know more about.
Conversation.
just because they're
Yeah,
crossing over
it
into the
sounds like
finance.
you really researched Elon Musk. I know very little. I would be interested in more. It'd be nice to know the name of the book so I can find it.
Well, it's called Elon Musk. If you just type in Elon Musk book.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's
So
by,
that's the
it's
title.
by Walter Isaacson.
Walter Isaacson. That's a. He wrote
All right.
Steve Jobs too, which is the similarities between the two is.
But anyways, guys, the topic today, we're asking the question: will Musk and Trump play fair politically? Do you think
No.
these
No.
guys are honest people that will play fair
No.
by the rules and the ethics of governance in the United States?
I think he's a habitual liar. Elon Musk is different, but I think Trump is a habitual liar. To expect him to all of a sudden be a honest whatever, I think a lot of people go and they look at Trump from the perspective of they were choosing between the lesser of two evils. Don't get me wrong. There are people who are like, yay, Trump. He's like, everything about him is false. But I think most reasonable people can tell, like, he's got some stuff wrong and there's habitual. It's just a lot of people voted for Trump despite all of that because of how much they hated Kamala in comparison. I think was.
I think you're.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but
I think you're selling Elon way
based on
short.
What? Yeah. Okay.
Well, I think you're selling Elon short in that he loves lying to make money, just like Trump.
You think he's intentionally lying?
Elon?
Yes,
Elon.
for sure. Yeah.
If he's not
lying
intentionally
about?
lying, he's a dumbass.
Well, what's
and
let's
he's not a dumbass.
let's
so.
try and suss this out. Let's use resources. What do people think Elon's lied about or lying about so far? And then let's see if we can demonstrate the claim. Because I do want to I would rather get specific.
Self-driving is the perfect example. Like Elon Musk came out at like a panel. Like this must have been like 12 years ago, and he's like, Tesla is right around the road from having self-driving.
12 years ago.
Like, it was a long time ago.
Let's get
sorry if I don't have
a year away.
But isn't that more like advertising? Is that actually a lie, though? Like, would you count that as a lie? It's just advertising.
The guy is eternally optimistic.
Even in advertising, you're not allowed to lie, though, right? So there are laws.
I don't think there has to be intent
in advertising.
He knew it wasn't possible. Like all of the people in the industry, all the experts on full self-driving, none of them thought that was possible. And at the time, they were like, "Yeah, this is bullshit." And Elon Musk was told that, so he knew it was not possible.
About landing a booster, all the top rocket people said it couldn't happen.
No, they didn't because we had the idea and the technology back in the 70s and 80s.
The top people in rocketry did not say that. If you think they did say that, bring the evidence forward and we'll take a look at it. I will change my belief. I would change my belief if you guys bring that forward. But let's let Pazios go a bit. Pazios is new. Welcome. So what were you getting at there, Pazios, about lying and intent? And
I was mostly about how I wouldn't bring up the point that, well, he told on this panel that we're right around the corner from having this technology, when it could have been just an advertising ploy, and most advertisers lie to you anyway, so I don't really see the problem with him.
Okay, you're breaking up a bit. We need to improve your signal there. But we got it. We got a bit of that there. If anyone wants to respond.
Yeah, that's the whole problem with this intent argumentation, right? So people will be like, oh, unless we know like 100% they intended that to be the case for the negative side for any position, they'll say like, no, I can't accept that position, but they're going to take intent for the other side with just this scantest amount of evidence, right? And so it just becomes this thing where it's
even in the court of law.
It's almost where you have to like the court of law. Well, the court of law is totally different than the court of public opinion, right? I mean, the court of law has like specific rules and guidelines about what we take in and refer to as information or evidence, right? So now if the actual public worked the same way as a court of law, that would be fucking awesome.
So
it'd be the same way. Like,
isn't Waymo doing self-driving cars right now?
Tesla is.
No,
Tesla was.
What do you mean Waymo's not?
Tesla is not.
Waymo, I have a Tesla.
Yeah, Waymo is, but like Waymo is more advanced.
Cars. It's driving around Austin with no people.
So it's not possible, or is it possible?
No,
Tesla. Hold up 1 second, guys. Hold up 1 second. When we're talking about full self-driving, we need to realize that there's two different kinds here. There's self-driving that knows everything around it and can go into a new area and drive by itself. And then there's a mapped out driving. So places like Austin, New York City, these are places that are mapped out by people that physically sit in the car and map out.
Exactly.
Tesla's not mapped. Waymo's mapped. It's two different technologies, yes.
Yeah.
One, I mean, like Teslas have run over people at this point. Like again, granted, yes, the amount of Tesla cars that have run over people is drastically less, and it's still better than human beings driving. But still, it's just not the same as what Elon Musk is claiming, and that's my
Elon Musk is claiming level 5 self-driving. He's been promising level 5 for years. Tesla has been stuck at level 2 since then.
Exactly.
Waymo is level 4 self-driving. So like thinking that Waymo and Tesla are in the same like apples and oranges is ridiculous. Waymo is level 4, Tesla's level 2. It's been stuck at level 2 because it's using technology that is not going to get us to level 5. It's so bad that the people who are on the self-driving team in Tesla have been leaving over and over again. It's got one of the highest turnover rates in the industry because everyone doing self-driving realizes that like cameras and software are not going to do it. You need stuff like LiDAR and other equipment. That's why the Waymo cars look like spaceships, because they have all this other technology, which gets them to level 4. That's necessary. A camera and software is not going to do it. Elon is stuck on that. He's been stuck on that.
What do you do? Who are you? What type of authority are you?
Oh, I'm just a guy who has a music degree.
Oh, I've got it. Thanks.
That doesn't matter though, Super Mario, right? Like what matters is what information is correct. So I'm fine.
It matters because I take someone telling me that they can't do it when they don't even have a background in the specialty.
No.
Why am I going to take their word?
No. You don't have to take anyone's word. We should get the right information forward here. So let's test the claim.
You can look at all of my claims, right? Like you can look up what the level of self-driving is for Tesla versus Waymo. Google's your friend.
Internally, what proprietary research they're doing. Got it.
No, I invest, right? You can look at investment statements. You can look at the C-suite turnover. You can look, like literally, it's all public information.
I also
invest, and I have a very
information. Got it.
No, I have quite a large
the
holding.
proprietary algorithm.
Maybe we can clarify what's being what the positions here are.
Yes.
I don't know who was just speaking about Tesla. I can't see your name right now, but who was saying that it was impossible? Cyborg? Who was it? Arco Whip?
Simba?
Arco Whip was speaking.
I wasn't saying it's I was saying that the technology that Elon is relying on.
Okay. I just wanted to know. So I think Arco Whip, what you're saying, let me explain. That you're saying that there's this metric out there, this objective way we can look at the necessary steps or abilities that specific. And so Tesla is not there. There's like a level to it. There's a theory behind it. There's something that people might have to look at to see where they are. What Simba is saying, or is it Simba I think was saying it, is that Elon, we don't know what he's doing behind the scenes, and he might be closer, and they have their own proprietary information that we don't know. So I think that's where we're being in a disagreement. Let's look at that.
No, that's not the disagreement.
That's not what's happening?
No.
Yeah,
no,
real
that's not what's happening.
Real quick. Yeah. The disagreement here is about whether or not Elon is lying, and Elon was making positive claims about specific self-driving algorithms being in his vehicles, shipped on the road at specific dates, and he neglected those dates multiple times. And I think Arco was just saying Elon's at this level. He's been promising this level, and there's other people already at that level.
And people have been telling him that his technology will not get them there. And people who have been working in his team and full self-driving have been leaving.
Yeah.
And the market's priced it more valuable than every other car company combined.
Right, because it's a greater fool's theory. It's a greater fool's theory. Bitcoin is massive right now, but there's no fundamental behind it.
Kathy Woods has a research team of 20 people.
Yeah, Kathy Woods is a joke. Kathy Woods is considered a joke in the investment industry.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I mean, like Kathy Woods is the kind of person who tells people to invest in things that she's going to de-invest from and make a shitload of money off the people who are investing in it.
So
has funds.
I want to add a little bit of information here. So several companies are actively developing and deploying autonomous vehicles. Waymo, like you guys already talked about, they're a subsidiary of Alphabet. They operate commercial robo-taxi services in Phoenix, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. The company plans to expand to Austin, Texas in early 2025. They've logged over. Okay. And then there's Tesla, where people they introduced the Cybercab, claim to be a fully autonomous robo-taxi without steering.
Doesn't even have a steering wheel or gas pedal.
Steering wheels or pedals, expected to be available by 2026. The company plans to roll out its full self-driving FSD technology to Model 3 and Model Y vehicles in California and Texas in 2025. However, Tesla's approach, which relies solely on cameras and AI, has faced scrutiny over safety and regulatory concerns. There's also a company named. Just let me go through the information, then everyone just hold on to what they want to say, and then we'll get through this, and then we'll put a cap on the vehicle thing, and because I want to get back to the question today. Zoox, an Amazon-owned company, Zoox has launched a purpose-built robo-taxi in San Francisco's south of Market District. The vehicle, which lacks traditional manual controls, is currently undergoing testing with company employees. And then Lyft has partnered with autonomous driving software makers Mobileye, May Mobility, and Nexar to integrate autonomous vehicles into its platforms. So there are more than just two companies doing this, working on this. Despite these advancements, fully autonomous vehicles level 5 are not yet available to the general public. Challenges such as regulatory hurdles, safety concerns, and technological limitations continue to impede widespread adoption. For instance, the U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, has raised concerns about Tesla's public communications, suggesting that its vehicles can drive themselves despite guidelines that require human supervision for its self-driving system. So there does seem to be some critiques that this is in some ways a deception. So in this just if anyone's interested in the sources, this is coming from a collection of Wiki, Extreme Tech, AP News, the U.S. Sun, Investopedia, Motor Trend, Wired, Interesting Engineering, Tech Engineering.
Does anyone here have a Tesla?
Tech Radar. So so that's done. Just there's the general thing.
It drives me all the time.
I know. So I have one as well. It drives me all the time.
Yeah. So yeah, talk about it. So you get in it. It drives you yourself. And where?
So if I get in,
whereabout do you live?
I go to my parents' house all the time. It's about an hour and a half away. I work on what I'm doing, do whatever I do. Because it has, like, the newest version is end-to-end, where it doesn't even need supervision on highways. So on highways, it's accepted.
Okay. So you're legally allowing it to do all of your driving for you.
Well, yeah, that's what FSD is. You don't touch anything.
Yeah. Okay. So, Are you sitting in the driver's seat? Okay. Yeah. And then you obviously.
Although they like, if you go on Google and like look at dog driving Tesla, a bunch of people put the dogs in and stuff. And,
yeah. So
then they take videos, but
so you can just kick back, relax, and it does your driving for you, right?
Yeah.
Now, the argument coming from Arkowip and Scott, you guys are saying that that you wouldn't consider that self-driving, or
It's not full self-driving. Full self-driving is level 5.
Not unsupervised self-driving.
Right.
It's not unsupervised.
Yeah, full in the industry, full self-driving is level 5, which we haven't reached yet.
Cool. And I think that sorts out the disagreement here. And so now, if Elon Musk
it's good enough, put it that way, it's good enough, and I don't need the full self-driving.
Right. So a lot of people probably are going to agree with you and feel that way, Mario. But if it's being advertised as fully self-driving or level 5, like you guys are saying, Mario, do you think that's a problem? Or Simba, do you think that's a problem if it's being advertised as though it is fully self-driving?
But it's not. It's advertised as you have to supervise.
Okay, so let's see
where the court case just finished in California, so you can look that up, where it was proven that Elon proved that he advertised that you have to supervise it, you have to do all this stuff, and he never said anything that was wrong by the legal standard. You can say
No, I'm pretty sure it came down to the fine print there, like where Elon did say these things. Yeah, where Elon did say these things, but the fine print said, no, this is not actually what's taking place.
Well, I mean,
if that's your standard of fucking, if that's your standard of justification, it's like, oh, well, no, this person who's selling me something is promising me the moon, but in the fine print that it's only going to say that I'm gonna get a rock. Like that's my fucking
standard
cool,
is
dude.
I fucking have one, bro.
That's a pretty good standard. No, his timing was off.
You guys are missing the point then.
Well, I guess, but Scott, they're saying that they have one, they're owners. They don't feel like they've been misled. A court has ruled that they didn't mislead in any illegal way. But Scott's point is that that perhaps some things, and Scott, maybe you want to bring the actual things Elon
I think timing, because he did always promise it and a year off, and that was years ago.
Right.
So,
this
is his line. He goes, "I make it the impossible to late." So if you believe he's overly optimistic, I believe he's overly optimistic. You can believe he lies. Like, I don't know how we get into his soul.
Okay. Well, let's table that for now. I think that was worth going down. But the question today is: will Musk and Trump play fair? Are they going to play fair politically here? And I say Musk and Trump because, I mean, at this point, I think Musk did, and I don't know how you guys feel, but based on what I've read, I think Musk did play a pretty significant role in the election here.
If you're asking the question, are Musk and Trump going to play fair? You're recognizing the fact that Trump bought Musk, or that Musk bought Trump.
Yeah,
Musk is the fucking owner of Trump.
I wouldn't go that far. But he's definitely found lots of favors within Trump, to the point where Trump is appointing him for
I would say
newly
dangerously.
Let Don finish, and then let's try to go one by one, so that everyone listening right now on YouTube. By the way, everyone on YouTube, please take a second to touch that like button. It really helps us out a lot. But Don, please continue.
So Donald Trump is making the world's richest man, who donated over $200 million to his campaign, basically. I think he openly donated $75 million to the Friends of Trump, and then through other small contributions.
200.
The AP got us $200 million. Yeah. In charge of a new department, the Department of Government Efficiency. Why, to do what? And Doge, and what's their stated goal is to shrink the government and lessen regulations. I can't.
To be fair, they don't really have.
Let him finish.
Oh, sorry.
Let him finish, and then we'll get in.
Yeah, sorry. I thought he finished. That was my bad. Sorry.
To me, whether or not you can argue they have more power or less power, or that there's a justification for this presidency, it's within his rights, and all this legal stuff, and whatever. If the Democrats didn't lose, we can make all these different political and legal points. But I think what we can see here these things have happened in American history, and we can look back at what those were, and they were they were wrong then, and they're obviously wrong now. That this is happening. That the person who donated this much money to the president is getting placed in political office. leading a department.
Well, and I saw, look, here's the thing. A lot of people are going to make the argument that this isn't an official department. But if the president himself has chosen you, handpicked you as the person who had put $200 million towards your great victory, your great political victory, then they're going to make you part of this new thing that maybe it's not an official position, but to me, it's as official as any other position to the public in the public sphere, just due to the relationship and who Elon Musk is. I think it really does give him a lot of political power and sway, and people did not vote for Elon Musk, right?
Yeah, dude, 100%, and it's okay. Like, I mean, to me, I work for a company that supplies Elon Musk with goods, so I'm fucking solid. I feel bad for getting sorry individuals in this country that do not for the preferred business associate of Trump. Like you're going to see problems with people who. Like no, I don't like Trump, so their business is going to have an impact, a negative impact, and people that like Trump, their business is gonna have a positive impact.
One thing I wanted to add, Scott,
politics is supposed to be fucking worked out.
Mario just put in the chat, like, how much did Bloomberg donate? As kind of a counter, but Bloomberg.
Soros.
Yeah, like Bloomberg isn't being put
Soros,
into like, obviously I'm going to have a problem with that if they're put into like a position of power or given a quote unquote unofficial position to go along with that.
Exactly.
I mean and the reasons given. Let me just read some of the reasons given here. And let me know if you guys think that these are within the like the fair game of the way politics is supposed to run. So,
but I would say this, Travis, right? George Soros has never been in charge of any sort of government agency.
2 seconds,
right?
but let me, you guys, just let me finish the point, because it tells me that you guys might not be listening, because I didn't even get to the point. I started.
I'm listening.
So the key objectives of Doge, according to Trump, is reducing bureaucracy. Number one, that is a big problem for me. When a leader comes in and wants to reduce bureaucracy, a lot of people think that, no, that's great. I hate bureaucracy. Like, I have to deal with it at work. When we're talking about democracy and the leadership of your nation, do you not want a lot of checks and balances, a lot of bureaucracy, so that it's very difficult to make big changes? Isn't that what democracy is all about?
Wouldn't that then you'd vote for Kamala? The Doge was announced before he got elected. Doge was a big part of Trump's election.
I didn't say anything about whether it was a big part or not. I'm talking about reducing.
Well, I know, but it was people were elected based off this.
Let's talk. No, I did not say he was elected based on this. Or you're saying he was elected based on this idea.
He is.
So
Travis is not saying that. Oh, this is bad, and you're like, but to be fair, he's saying this to me to begin with. He's saying this is a problem.
Yeah. So my question for the room.
He's going to build up these facts just to follow him along, just address his facts.
Yeah. So the first question for the room. Does anyone here think that reducing bureaucracy, simplifying government processes to enhance efficiency, do they like that idea? Let's start with that. Okay, and why do you like that idea?
Yes, let's do it.
Not necessarily. Like, I mean,
I think it's too vague.
Raise your hand if you like it, not if you don't.
I think the framing of the question is so vague I can't answer it, because I don't know what it means to be efficient as a government. Like, what's the standard here?
Exactly.
So like, that's the thing to consider. But let's hear from some of the people that think it's a good thing, because we heard some people say, so those who like the idea of reducing bureaucracy, simplifying government processes to enhance efficiency, what's the good you see in that, and do you have any concerns that go along with the good?
Yes. Okay, first of all, I want to point out the corporate oligarchy, just because I have to say that what you're witnessing with Elon Musk and Trump is corporate oligarchy, and that's dangerous. But since you're asking a different question now, I want to say that going and minimalizing bureaucracy and putting more power in people's hands and getting rid of unnecessary red tape or like where the system doesn't make sense, that is helpful. And Trump did run based on this is what we're going to do. But you have to be careful with it because that can also become a dictatorship. You know, where like it's who gets the power, like what are the consequences of the particular things they're shutting down. Is it giving more power to the government or more power to the people? If it's giving more power to the people, I don't have a problem with it. If it's giving more power to the government and taking power away from the people, then I have a problem because I am not a socialist.
Or what if it's giving more power to like corporate interests? So
That's
not
bad.
the public, not the people, not the government, but corporate interest. Because this is what I see is happening: is that the power is being consorted into corporate interests.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you're not willing to like go to that fucking place, if you're only concerned about the government and the people and completely disregarding corporate interest, I just don't know what to say at that point.
One silver lining, I think, that would be really hilarious. Part of this government efficiency thing, Elon has said he wants to stop all government subsidies. If he did that, Tesla would lose about 40% of their revenue, which would mean that they were no longer profitable.
Let's not talk about SpaceX. SpaceX got a lot of its funding from government sources.
Yeah. Subsidies and contracts are different. Subsidies and contracts are different.
I would say that a corporate oligarchy, basically where you're able to pay the politicians in order to have political pull on the people, that is very, very dangerous. And if it were up to me, every last politician would have to wear some kind of outfit, like their little suit, suits that they go to government in. They would have patches. They would have.
I really have something I want to get out, guys. Give me 1 second.
Would they have to wear a gold star on their lapel? Oh, dude, that would be amazing.
Jesus.
Oh my god!
Every one of them would have visor on their jacket.
I really think we can just actually have like a constructive point to talk about what government efficiency is. So political scientists study this. They study where there's failures in governments and successes in governments. How democratic governments get things done, how to push things through the Senate, what are the mechanisms to do so, how the ground game, right? They study this. Elon Musk does not have any academic anything in this. He's a businessman.
That was
who runs companies.
Dawned on you. You're nailing on what my follow-up question is because we're going to go through this with each point. With reducing bureaucracy, is Elon Musk at all an expert in this? Like,
no,
in efficiency or bureaucracy?
Government,
reducing, knowing how to
in bureaucracy,
knowing how to effectively reduce
logistics.
Government.
Yeah, he knows something about logistics.
No, you guys, reducing bureaucracy is the point we're on right now. And we're talking about government efficiency as well as kind of like a subcategory. So let's really try to say.
For example, when people who work in government, they are public servants. But the way you run a public service is different than how you run a company.
Correct.
It's even different than how you run a non-for-profit.
Correct.
You're acting like there's zero overlap. I mean,
what I'm saying is that while a person who has managerial experience knows how to manage, they don't know how to manage everything. And while there's carryover,
what do
you mean he's going to learn?
Have the skills.
There are people who have
what
been.
Do you think people
there's
go to
people who are leading government.
They go to business school for general.
Business school is not political science school.
Yeah,
bro.
Business.
They're called management skills for a reason. They're general.
That's not the
they
same.
translate.
It's not the same thing.
No,
We're talking about people who
So
are.
if you're a
not
CEO,
Mario.
oh my God.
No, what do you mean?
Meet me halfway.
Hold up. Hold up.
No, I'm not going to meet you
Hold up.
halfway
Hang on,
because I'm
you
not.
guys, one
Because
at a
the head
time.
of surgery, I'm not going to bring a head of surgery into my hospital who has been head of nursing for the last 15 years.
Correct.
Mario, do you have a follow up? You guys
hang
hang on, CJ. I'll get you in. I want to give Mario the stage here. Mario, go ahead.
So you're telling me that someone who's managed, I mean, I know several people who go from industry to industry and manage different companies, totally unrelated. You saying these skills don't overlap?
I said that managers are going to have those
leadership skills. Leadership.
Want to cut me off, or you asked me a question?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
question.
Dan, you cut him off multiple times. I'm sorry, but I'm going to call a spade a spade.
Star, you're not the moderator at all. You're not even in this right now.
apologize.
Just
I
wait.
paused.
Star.
I paused. It was my
Stop.
fault. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Okay, now Mario, can you re-ask the question to Don Don, or unless Don Don already knows what it
I
is?
want to know how much of those skills do you think can overlap?
I think that, like I said, I think managerial skills and leadership skills go with you everywhere. That's the way you behave within a group. And those things are great. And then you have a logistical experience. You can set up you can do all of those things. Those are true leadership positions.
Do you think those are good skills to have regardless
Absolutely.
of what you're running?
Let me put it this way. I would rather have Elon Musk in that position than you or me or Travis. I don't think I would be able to do that position properly. I really don't think I could do that. He actually is, if you told me, I would absolutely choose Elon Musk. But if I was the president of the United States and I cared about the governance, I'm going to bring someone who's been studying and practicing and refining their governance really well for years. The people who have the most experience in the job, who've been consistently reelected by their constituents because they've been doing great jobs in those counties, according to me. They have been making their profits go up. I would take that person, not the guy, not Elon Musk. Those are two different skills. Those are two different experiences. In the same way that the head of nursing, the best head of nursing in the world, should not be head of surgery.
Yeah, the same way. So imagine all of a sudden you become the president of a company that the only thing they do is offer air conditioning, right? You don't want some fucking dude who has no experience with air conditioning, who just runs his mouth about how great air conditioning is compared to somebody who actually knows how to repair an air conditioner, right?
And I say one thing real quick.
The air conditioner is not the best example.
But like I know it's not a perfect analogy. But do you guys see the point that I'm making?
Yes, see the point.
Yeah,
it's better for the person at the top to understand the details of what they're doing, but sometimes it isn't as important as you think.
I will say there are other standards.
Yeah, let's get Niv in. Niv hasn't spoken yet, then we'll go back to Arco Whip. Yeah, Niv, what do you got?
Well, the thing is, you have to have a leash on a businessman. I get that. I get the point he's making. Like a businessman, he takes management position, and in the government, and the person working in the government, they manage so they can kind of overlap. The people working in the government, they're elected representatives. Not only are they responsible for doing a good job, in order to keep their job, they have a leash of the people attached to them in case they get out of hand in a way that F's them. So it's kind of like a check. You kind of have to do a good job when you're elected representative.
So Niv, if I can summarize,
you have to have policies that kind of you're held accountable to the people. You have to have policies passed in a way that that doesn't bring harm to to the people.
Okay, so Niv, would you say that when you hear ideas about reducing bureaucracy, simplifying government processes to enhance efficiency, is that a bit of a, does that cause you some concern when you hear that coming from, let's say, a Trump who's about to take office again? In reducing bureaucracy, do you think that's a guy that there should be a lot of red tape and bureaucracy? Like you use the analogy of having a leash on them. Do you think Trump's the kind of leader that should have a good strong leash on him so that he doesn't get out of control? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Yeah, well, Trump. Yeah, he answers to the people. So he is the dog walker because the people oversee Trump. And they'll be displeased. So in a way, there's a bit of a check and balance. I wouldn't be okay with like having the power completely in the hands of a businessman because he's about his interests and his what do you call it, people that invest in his investors. So that's the thing with the '08 crash. Business pressured government to loosen regulations to a point where it tanked the country.
Okay, we're getting a little off. Okay, cool. Does anyone else have? We were going to go to Arco next. Arco, if you have anything.
Yeah, unless anyone wants to respond to Nivik. One thing I will say about measuring a leader's effectiveness, right? Like we want to say someone's a good leader, a strong leader. Part of being a strong leader is the team you have around you and the way that you work with that team. So when you're looking at like a CEO, for example, at a major company, one of the ways that you can determine the health of the company or the health of the leader is looking at their direct report turnover. So this is something that if you're trying to invest in a company and you're looking at like, what's their future going to be like? For example, a company that has a lot of really high technical needs, like an AI company or something, looking at that turnover is going to be really important. Elon Musk turnover a few years ago, I can't find data for the last year, but several years ago was 44% over the same time period. That was like 9% for other major companies that were of similar market cap. Yeah. And that's about 4.8 times as more likely to be fired or to leave because of the work environment being so toxic. And that's what people have reported when it comes to Elon Musk. So there's clearly a leadership style issue. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to be a bad leader necessarily, but I think it's definitely a red flag. And if we're going to be having someone in the highest position in the country, these red flags, I think, should take on greater importance.
Well, and also when we're talking about finding the right person to be the mind that's helping out like this new committee or whatever to simplify government processes to enhance efficiency, reducing bureaucracy, the kind of person you just described doesn't sound like someone who would make the short list of applicants in my world.
Yeah, and I'd like to make a further point, which is that he is partisan. And I think in the interest of a large percentage of the voting population in the United States, we should either have some balance to that partisanship or we should have some accountability from that other side, because it is not just purely Trump country. There's many people that also voted for Democrats. So I think there needs to be some accountability.
No, he should act like everyone's president now, not just Republicans' president. He's now the president of Democrats as well.
Right, and I don't want to say there isn't a mandate, right? Like there is a mandate. Trump definitely won. He won on his own merits, but I think that there should still be some nonpartisan process here, or nonpartisan accountability, some check there.
Can I respond?
But you can't take the mandate of retards, though.
Well, let's
okay.
Star.
There's a lot of evidence.
Star, you unmuted there. What do you got?
I'm sorry. It's okay. The time passed anyways. What I was trying to say earlier, but and someone else was trying to say it too, and basically because I don't necessarily I understand that we have our problems with Elon Musk, but you have to give a person their due, right? And when you go and you look at this person who is able to, in his company, and takes it pretty seriously from my understanding, because he is autistic or neurodivergent or whatever, where he hyper focuses and is always trying to focus on making things more efficient. Like, that's his thing. He's known for it. People get pissed at it because he takes it too damn far, right? But he's known for it, and he happens to be a genius that has done a lot of stuff, right? Like, he's not a moron, right? And then be like, oh, he's not who are you to say he's not the best option? I'm not saying he is or isn't. My problem is the fact that it's a corporate oligarchy and he purchased that position, not whether or not he's capable of it.
Yeah, come on, Elon, the king of efficiency. He's the one that tried to reinvent the underground subway by putting it in a vacuum chamber and adding like 10 times the cost, just to add a bunch of Teslas into it that go in a circle and move like 2 people a day. Yeah, super efficient.
Yeah, dude, I made the same thing that a subway does, but just highly less efficient. Yeah, this is the guy we're going to put in charge of government efficiency.
I know, he kept blowing up rockets too.
What, his strength is in
fucking dumb.
His strength is in fundraising and advertising. Like, he's like, you don't need a publicity company if you have Elon Musk at the company.
It's fundraising and advertising
and logistics.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's hear from more, like, does anyone want to defend Elon Musk against these claims here? Because we do have some people in the room who've been defending Elon Musk. So
I would be happy to defend Elon Musk.
Yep.
He took the car industry and completely changed it to EVs, like opened up a whole new world. He's taken space industry. He owns the biggest social media platform on the planet now. Like, I don't know how we call him failing at all these. And yes, he does tests with the Boring Company and made all the tunnels in Vegas to get around stuff. And I'm sure it was expensive.
I think his greatest gift to the world. I think his greatest gift to the world is his tenacity and drive to get the EV market going, and I think he
definitely is a visionary.
Yeah, he's a visionary, and I think he is a very creative mind. I wouldn't call him a genius. Yeah. I think people throw that term around way too loosely. I wouldn't call him a genius.
Correct.
I think he's an intelligent guy. I don't think he's a wise person based on a lot of his radical extremist political takes I've heard from him. He just doesn't strike me as a wise man by my 6 Pangburn virtue standards. And other people can argue with me, and that's fine.
And Tesla was started by like 2 guys, right? So they're the guys who created the entire company, created the entire company. Elon just came and bought it later.
Well,
and once he bought it,
2008, Tesla was a big success, not on the verge of bankruptcy.
Once he bought it, the quality of the cars dropped drastically, right?
There was no car prior to him.
The Roadster existed.
We're getting off point. No, this is just going to the weeds of nothing.
Totally wrong.
No, this is going into the weeds. It doesn't make none of this makes a difference whether you bought the company or the way. I think what Travis
I was going to a point that got pulled off because of the responses to my point.
Okay, yeah. There's no. I don't think it even matters. I think Travis made his point wholly and completely, and we can move forward from there.
So, anyways, so it sounds like we've discussed. Did anyone want to add anything pro Elon Musk to him being a good choice for reducing bureaucracy? We're going to go through the 3 key objectives of Doge here. But did anyone have anything of why Elon Musk would be a ripe, good pick for reducing bureaucracy, simplifying government processes to enhance efficiency? Why is he?
I can think of maybe one thing. He has a vast knowledge of a lot of different technologies and technology spaces. So he probably can see where deficiencies are and suggest things to improve them. I think he has a wide view of different things.
I would echo that.
Say he also has like a history of like union busting, right? So he does have that in his pocket of being able to make labor cheaper, right? Yeah,
you're just going negative things. I'm trying to do positive things.
Yeah, so I'm going to do a little bit of both.
But Scott, the question was
that is a positive
let them
thing.
defend let them defend him. Oh, you're saying it's a positive thing.
Yeah, and
union does.
I do agree with
it's a positive thing to
let them defend him.
I do agree with
give them the room. Give them the room.
I do agree with Arco Whip in saying that I think what Mario was saying would be some of the most positive elements that Musk could bring to the table. Despite it coming with some other baggage, but there's nothing wrong. Like, this is what I was telling everyone as these results were pouring in for this election, is that there is nothing wrong with looking at your political others and being able to give them their due, because if you simply just demonize your political others and just kind of cloak them or camouflage them in just the bad, you're not getting a clear, real, true picture of them. You're getting a demon, and these are not demons; these are human beings, right? So they're, of course, Elon Musk.
You say correct, but then that's all you do.
What?
Me?
I'm talking to Scott. You say correct, but then that's all you do is shit on him.
Oh no! I can shit on him, but I'm not demonizing somebody. Like, I can recognize somebody has a bad position and call out that bad position all day, every day. I'm not
Have you said
demonizing
anything
anybody.
good about him? Have you said anything good about him?
Elon Musk, I don't have to say something good about Elon Musk for me to like be put in a position of not demonizing Elon Musk, right? So this is a weird fucking thing, like, that people have. It's like, well, can you say something positive about somebody? It doesn't fucking matter if I can say something positive about somebody. I could look at somebody who's completely fucking bad across the board. Let's just take fucking Hitler, for example. Of course, Hitler is bad across the board. He's still a human being. Like, am I saying Elon Musk is not human?
Well, I don't think we need.
What the fuck are you talking about?
So Scott, like, what part of what I said do you agree with? Like, because you said you agreed that it's important. Because I gave the analogy of, like, if you just camouflage someone with the negative, you're not really getting the true picture of what they are. So how do you go about doing that? Because and maybe you don't.
I work for a company that makes money off of Starlink, right? So I think Starlink is like a pretty good thing, right? Do I think the way Elon Musk wields Starlink is a good thing? No, I do not. I do think the technology in and of itself is a good thing.
So if you had to, and I think, like, without using the inflammatory language and way of going about it, Super Mario did, but if you were to say something like where you would give Elon Musk a green check for, like, let's say if you had to look on the bright side of things, the light side of things, of him being the guy who's going to come in and his job is to reduce bureaucracy. I mean, would you look at some of the same points as the others were bringing up? Like, he's got experience in the tech space, and he can weigh in on issues related to that. Like, No, I wouldn't. I would say, like, for Elon Musk, basically what happens is he's like on a board of trustees for any company. Same thing with like Starlink, right? So he's not the guy who's actually making decisions for what Starlink does. He's just the guy who's there funding it. Well,
right?
Surely he's made some decisions related to Starlink, right?
Yes, some. I mean, like, Do you think he's there for the daily decisions that Starlink
No, I don't think anyone.
taking to
Scott, I don't think anyone here believes that he's the daily duty manager or the.
I also don't expect him to be. I expect him to go and do networking, and I expect him to go and pull these big contracts and these big ideas and correct. I expect him to do that.
That's his build.
Does no one expect him to be an engineer at these companies?
It depends on the company, but sometimes I think he has some engineering knowledge that's helpful, but I don't think like in the startup world, there's kind of two types of founders. There's a financial founder and the technical founder. I don't think Elon Musk is a technical founder ever. I think he's always a financial founder who's smart enough to kind of hang with some technical founders.
See, I think this is where
I think he's
Isaac in his book really points out that he was in on these technical meetings when he was writing the book. And Elon Musk was very involved in all the designs, all the technical specs, changing it, throwing LiDAR out against all his engineers. He's the reason it has no LiDAR.
Right, which I think is a bad thing, right? Because like the engineers turned out to be right because there's level 4 self-driving with LiDAR, but there's only level 2. So like this is an example. This is an example.
We will see about that.
But right now, as it stands, the evidence that we have. So far,
currently I don't drive my car, so
no. So currently, there isn't whatever this level 4 with LiDAR that you agree with, where it's like you just walk in, whatever it is, it just doesn't exist. Where the car is just like whatever that level means.
Well, I would like to.
Dan.
I mean, we could have this exact same conversation about fucking.
But the reality is,
who was Tesla's rival? God, why am I forgetting his name?
Depends on what you're talking about.
Whatever. I think we're getting distracted. I don't even know what this conversation is about anymore.
I wanted to answer. I wanted to answer Travis if everyone's fine with that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so like back to the whole idea of like, is there anything that he actually brings to the table for government bureaucracy and efficiency? Like maybe bureaucracy itself, I don't know, but he seems to be pretty good at firing a lot of people while keeping the whole thing afloat, which means that it seems like he can cut off a lot of fat. Now I got to be honest, I didn't keep up with Twitter. I don't know if he ended up hiring twice as many people as he fired, but it seems at the very least he knows how to not fire the wrong people.
I would disagree with.
Go ahead, you guys. Let's let Star get in here. Star, go ahead.
Christ.
Scott, can you mute? You're going Jesus Christ into the mic. It's kind of distracting.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Star, go ahead.
I think that we need to acknowledge that he has his strengths and his weaknesses and what he brings to the table. He is a high-functioning autistic, and you can even argue that he might be an idiot savant or whatever the new term is.
Bringing up autism? Why do you keep bringing up autism?
Because it plays into it. I'm not saying it from an insulting thing, and I don't consider it an insult, and I don't think we should attack him for it.
Nobody is saying you're saying it as an insult, but you keep bringing up his autism as though it's a positive or negative.
Because they hyper-focus on certain aspects and then lose the big picture in other areas. This is common.
All autistic people are different. This is totally irrelevant as far as I'm concerned.
All right.
So.
Okay.
Anyways,
what's
the rest? What's the rest of your point, though?
But the rest of my point is I believe he does what is common, but not necessarily everyone, because it is a spectrum. But it is common for people with autism, especially high-functioning autism, to hyper-focus on certain aspects and lose the grand picture on other ones. And so it's like if you give him this small thing that he can hyper-focus on, he's going to do well. And he's going to start screwing up and he becomes obsessed with stuff, right? But when you go and you look and you expect him to do all of this, no, I don't think it would be possible.
Sorry.
Okay, no, that's okay. You can take it from there.
I'd like to just finish a thought I had earlier, and then I'll probably hop off if you don't mind, Noel.
Yeah, and then we'll go to Noel after Arco. Yeah.
So this is sort of piggybacking off of what Hugh Janus was saying, which I love your name, by the way. I think Elon has so many large companies he's working in that are in very different parts of the United States economy or agencies. So he basically has super high touch point for many regulatory bodies in the United States bureaucracy. In addition to that, his friends are very wealthy. Like his peers also own these major companies or work in these major companies, and they also have really high touch points with regulatory agencies. So he has basically a bird's eye view of how the regulatory machine of the United States government is impacting businesses. And he probably has a philosophy that, like, if business does well, then the middle class and workers will do well. And so given his commitment to that philosophy and seeing all of this regulatory tape bogging down business, he would be in a good position with many peers who also are in a good position to see these problems to try and find solutions to work around that. That being said, I think there's a political motivation behind what he's doing that is so partisan. I think it will end up harming a lot of the like goodwill of the United States, which I think would be a problem. But also I think his philosophical interests are very skewed towards free market economics, which has some serious disadvantages as well. And I don't think he is open to hearing some of the other side, or open to hearing the reason why some of these programs came to exist in the first place, because he's going to prioritize the efficiency of the business side of the government. So yes, that's a great thing for Elon, but I also think there's significant problems with it too.
Arco, I agree with everything you've said, and just to further demonstrate what you've said about the point of not really having such a hardcore partisan view of this stuff, just go look at Elon Musk's Twitter feed and how he demonizes and radicalizes his audience on Twitter. It shows, complete disregard for why something on the other side might be important to other people in the way that he talks about things. And I think we can go more into that. I do want to stay on the specific topic, but I do see a lot of demonization, doom and gloom, this person's a communist, that person's this person's that. And I think his level of partisanship is worrying. I don't know how the rest of you feel. But.
I feel like he hyper focuses.
Well, okay, so to credit him in a sense, I would say that it would seem that he knows how to pick out a team of people. If he can't figure out a problem, he'll put together a team to help figure it out. And I think if we want to make, our government more efficient, then I don't know of many other people on the planet that have really proven that they can put together such a team to make sure that it is as efficient as it should be.
Well, just to push back,
he is intelligent. I don't think he's a genius, but the ability to lead and to select the proper people to solve certain problems, I think he's really good at that. And I think
for Elon,
I want to lead.
The question is about the threat that he might pose. We get you don't want anybody do anything at your expense for that person's own gain. It's like putting a person ahead of a CEO that dumped toxic waste in the area that killed hundreds of people ahead of a government agency. Of course, right?
Yeah, but when he dumped that toxic waste made the company money. Fuck the people that it actually hurt. Like, it made that company.
That's a logic.
This guy's smart. This guy's smart. He's efficient.
Yeah, he's efficient.
Oh no, he's definitely going to destroy democracy.
Well, I wanted to respond to Noel a little bit here. So you say that there haven't been people that have really proven that they can do it. This, when we're talking about government efficiency,
there haven't been many.
What's that? Sorry.
There haven't been many.
Oh, many. Oh, okay. Copy that. Yeah. Cause I just wanted to say like we're talking about when you're looking at government efficiency, I'm just going to read a few bullet points here, categories of expertise that are required, but it's vast, like policy implementation and outcomes, government responsiveness, public trust and satisfaction, transparency and accountability, bureaucratic effectiveness, citizen participation and inclusiveness, economic performance and resource allocation, legal framework and rule of law. Like the amount of expertise that needs to go in. I know it's easy for people to read and say, let's reduce bureaucracy. We're going to go in there and simplify government process to enhance efficiency. Sounds very simple, but it comes with, when we talk about, like Dondon was bringing up, like when you become schooled in politics, you start realizing that it's like there's all of these imperative items and categories of thought and philosophy, of political philosophy, that have to be known and undertaken and not looked over, or else the democracy is not actually a democracy, or the democracy isn't working. So it's like this is like, there's a lot on this list of what comes with like trying to be efficient. And that's what I think Dondon was getting at, how it's so much different than just running an efficient company. It's not, there are so many things that are different,
But you asked to say something positive. I don't like him, by the way. But you asked to say something. I found the one thing that I thought was positive about him.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I was using devil's advocate too. There are things where you have to give credit where credit's due, but honestly, yes, he will destroy democracy, and yes, it's because he doesn't believe in upholding it. He is a person who has the mentality of the cause justify the means, or whatever, where it's okay as long as I get what I want and it works, right?
Well,
and it's at what cost?
How do we know that about him?
Okay, well, what I've recognized is this is his behavior through the things he's done. This is what I've noticed. And so maybe I'm wrong and maybe I'm mislabeling him, but from my point, I see him as someone who hyper-focuses on certain issues, and I see that he's willing to do anything in order to get his way on those things. And I don't think he cares so much about the cost of how he got there. Maybe I'm wrong.
The only good thing is he answers to Trump. And that's a good thing because Trump answers to the people. But then again, he's a billionaire, right? So he could probably influence Trump. So
I don't like corporate oligarchy. It's dangerous and should not be done.
But I do want to point out, though, like, Don is not a Trump supporter. So I think when he's asking you what you mean by that, he's asking for like more like solid terms that can be told to a person who might actually be somebody who would support Trump. Well, like what is your actual reasoning for saying he is this way?
When we do get into mind reading and kind of like trying to make bets on the state of minds of individuals or why they do certain things without having like a reasonable justification for it, we do get into this weird zone of like everyone's just going to say like, basically on what I've seen, and it might just be very very like low resolution things that we've seen, like, and we might have not done a deep dive. And I will say, just for the record, that the things that bother me most in the realm of looking at rhetoric and argumentation and logic and these fields of philosophy are people who I agree with, who make terrible arguments, who don't bring their justifications to the table. Those things frustrate.
I can give you the justification.
No, I'm not, Star. This isn't directed towards you. I'm just using this as a point to say that when you do make a claim about a public person where there's lots of information available, try to use tools of research to get your justifications in order, so that if you're in a conversation like this, you can bring those up and be like, here are the problems I have. Here are the bullet points. Take notes. Just make sure you can produce your receipts.
I can't.
In a political situation, though, Travis, this is why fucking liberals lose.
Oh my God.
Because conservatives have no fucking concern about what you are concerned about.
Well,
it does not fucking matter.
Obviously,
Yeah, like
people who don't agree with you are going to vote differently. What's the point?
no. That it's not the point. Like what I'm
No, Buck,
talking about.
you're
is like,
demonizing the other half, and I'm tired of you doing that. That's not cool. That's not fair.
I'm not demonizing anybody.
Yes,
Like what
you are.
Let
You're
Scott.
basically saying if you
Let
don't
Scott
vote
finish.
the way I want,
Hang
you're
on.
evil.
Hang on, Star.
Fucking argument.
Star, let
you don't
Scott
even
finish.
know what I'm talking about.
Scott,
Go ahead.
Scott.
Go ahead and explain how half of the world is wrong and stupid, and you're so smart. Go ahead, tell us.
Well, don't be passive aggressive.
That's not even what I'm saying. Like what I'm pointing out is how politics is won, not based on like, dude, Democrats can go out there every day of the week and show how our policies are the policies that make a difference, and these are the policies that make your life better. And Trump could have policies that make people's lives not better, but people still vote for Trump. Why is that? What?
Because you're wrong on your analysis.
Yeah, you're wrong on your analysis, and you're jumping to conclusions.
I'm absolutely right in my analysis because
okay.
politics is not based on facts.
Your argument is egocentric.
No, you're
His
not.
argument
Hang
isn't
on.
finished. Stop interrupting him.
Hang on, Scott. Scott, we're gonna hang on, Niv. Scott, hang on. Let's let people respond to some things. Scott ruminated there for a bit. So, Star, what do you have to say?
Just let me finish my point. Like what I'm trying to say is politics is based on emotion. It's not based on fact. And if you don't understand that, I just don't even know where to go from this point. Right? All right. I mean, it's been proven time and time again.
Scott, they don't disagree with that.
So let's get some responses. Go ahead, Star.
No.
Well, I want to let Star respond, and then we'll go. Simba, you had something to say, I think. We'll get some responses.
You're assuming that everyone is an emotional being and is an intuitive and has or speaks or communicates with me. Let me finish. Right? Because you were using me as an example as Trump supporters, and I'm a moderate, by the way. But that being said, I don't represent all of them. I represent myself, and I am someone who does care and come from an emotional point. That does not mean all of them do. Do not put everyone in a category and think that they all think and argue me.
I did not say anything about you. I did not say anything about
Scott,
you.
I don't think Scott.
When I said that, I did not say that was you, Star.
Yeah, so I don't think he was saying that about you, Star. He was saying that politics. I'm going to make the claim that I think Scott was making. Scott was saying that politics and people's engagement in politics is mostly driven by their emotions and how they feel. It's less about what is true or factual. That's a less of an issue. Now let's respond to that point.
Did you vote with your emotions? Did everyone here vote with their emotions? Or did some of you use logic and reason? Some of you guys use logic and reason and emotion, and some of you maybe a little more emotional. Did everyone have a different personality type, a different way of thinking, and a different way of coming at that voting ballot? And can we please accept the fact that no one likes brains work exactly the same, and therefore not everyone's emotional at that ballot box on both sides?
I think a lot of people convinced themselves that they were making
our emotions. I think they go hand in hand.
Go ahead,
hang on, Goji. We'll let Bucky Balls finish, and then we'll go back. And then we'll go to Goji because I want to hear from Goji. Haven't heard from him yet, so go, Bucky.
Yeah, sure thing. So yeah, I just want to say that I think a lot of people went to the ballot box and thought they were voting for someone for very epistemic reasons, for factual reasons, like, oh, I've got the facts here, there's this many immigrants or there's this much money, when in reality I think a lot of them were just captured by something that one of the two big politicians were talking about. Like, we see a lot of the left right now whining about specific things that I don't think were ever going to be part of Trump's policy, but they're out whining about it. And there's a lot of people that convince themselves that they voted empirically, but it seems like they were just ideologically captured by populist arguments targeted towards them.
Okay, now I want to go to thank you, Bucky. Goji, go ahead.
Sorry for cutting you off, Bucky. I just wanted to get it in there. But I just wanted to say that I think the way people vote is affected by their emotions, how everyone has different emotions, and their emotions can judge how they view things. So I think it's a combination of voting logically, but also their vote is affected by their emotions.
Yeah, I actually, Goji, that's a very, very good perspective. I actually think all of our moral attitudes, all of our rights and wrongs are born of our sentiments. So we're all doing things ultimately because we feel they are the right things to do, including when we cast a ballot. But I think on the more like one level of a kind of a lower resolution view of like more surface level, let's say, of what Scott was getting at is like some people might be hyper invested in their emotional knee-jerk reactions to the political issues of the day, and we'll be running with that as opposed to trying to garner a more learned approach, let's say, to like the policies on offer. I don't know how many times I've tried to talk to people about policy leading up to this election, and people could not tell me a single policy issue that they were interested in. They at most they could talk about like a wedge issue or a single issue that was the reason for them voting, when it didn't seem like they had even gone through a lot of what was on offer on both sides. So I think, just to throw Scott a bone here, he was getting more at like the people who are like hyper fixated and getting sucked into the pageantry, and the pageantry is basically steering them and driving them to the ballot box kind of like a zombie, and they cast that vote. And I don't think Scott was saying that about anyone in here necessarily, but I think that kind of ideological extremist capture happens on both sides of the political aisle in the United States. And perhaps for this election, based on what we saw with outcome, maybe the Republicans were more successful in getting more of those votes out, because I do think they had a Nivik. You're chewing something into the mic, man. But maybe I think the Republicans put together a better entertainment package ultimately, and it sounds a bit silly, but entertainment is a big thing for the American people, and I think it's really underutilized by the Democrats, and they need to really like fix how they're playing this game, because they got absolutely fucking shit stomped in this election, as far as I'm concerned.
I would like to point out something.
Yeah, go ahead, Noel.
Okay, so this is going to be a declaration of with the side effects of possibility, or the side effects of being possibly hated by half of the people watching this. I didn't vote, and the reason I didn't vote is because I watched the Joe Rogan interview with Trump. I was gonna vote Trump, but then I watched that, and it was him being Trump, doing his little thing, doing his little dance.
Yeah.
And it really dissuaded me from. I was like, man, it's really just an act. Like I don't think he's that person that he portrays.
Was there anything in particular, like did you see that, like, did it show you that he's a very unwise man, or what did you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I would say, look, I've said that. Well, I just want to agree with you that I think Donald Trump is a smart guy, like quote unquote smart guy, and he's intelligent enough to really play the game that he plays well to win. But I think he is one of the most unwise people, and by wisdom I measure by my 6 Pangburn virtues, but the first one, that's basically an imperative, is fallibilism. If you are not a fallible person, in the way I view thinkers and people's world views, and if you don't have fallibilism, you can't be a wise person in my view. So and I think he just the way he acts, what comes out of his mind, he thinks is purely infallible, at least the way that he presents it. Like it's very, very distasteful for someone that's trying to find a leader to vote in that is wise. But,
he was like,
one thing I'll just add to that is that wisdom is not what's going to win you elections in the United States in this day and age. And it's popularity. And it's I really think entertainment is a big part of it. So you really got to get the entertainment package in line, and you got to have the right hero to put that entertainment package behind. And to be honest, like I think they with Obama, I think they had it. They had the swagger. They had the right package with Obama, and it was big, and it was going to take over. And there's like, you're not stopping this fun train. And it's like, and where have they gone since that? I think the Joe Biden victory. I think the Joe Biden victory was just riding on the coattails of what Obama created. Honestly.
Yeah.
Can I speak to the fallible?
Hang on. Let Noel respond, and then we'll go to Niv.
Yeah, everybody wants their another 4 year. Everybody wants 4 years of me. Everybody wants 4 more years of the reality show that is America, Make America, or America : Make America Great Again.
Yeah. I agree. Niv, what do you got?
Yeah, he can't be seen as fallible because, I mean, like with the evangelical vote, he's chosen by God, so he can't come off as...
I didn't choose him.
I chose him, but it wasn't because... Dude. We're not all going like, hey, Jesus, support the psychopath. That was... no.
Yeah, it's hard.
That would be... Because it was the right decision. It was the right choice.
Yeah, the tough thing, like, I try to think of, like, everything I know about Christianity and the Christian plight and Christians who I know, and I try to think like based on the principles they profess and what they try to embody, and then they go out and feel as though they need to vote for Donald Trump to be their leader. That's another conversation we can have. Like, and I'm actually fine going there. Like for the few Christians in the room who reluctantly seem like you cast your vote. Well, what would Jesus think of this? What would what are the Christian supporting doctrines and teachings that would have you vote for someone like Donald Trump?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, WWJV.
Go ahead.
Who would Jesus vote?
I'll be the person with faith on that show that did not vote because of how fake he is.
I would argue, and I'm coming from a moderate side, so I'm an independent who voted. Okay, so don't consider me a Republican. But I would argue that I have brothers and sisters in Christ on both sides of the political lines, because we have political views that cradle both sides of the political spectrum. Civil rights, very Christian. Civil rights is good. Taking care of the environment, very Christian. Taking care of the environment is good. We're supposed to be the stewards. Just being loving and the whole, feeding the hungry and people getting education and everybody being okay. We like that. And that is very left views, right? And so it's not like I have brothers and sisters in Christ. It's misrepresenting to think that they're all on the right. That is not the case. Many of them are on the right because of the because they value the family stuff, right? Like the husband and the wife and the child and no abortions and protecting of family values.
Yeah.
And things like that. That's what's going to put them on the right side.
Yeah. So
all of them are doing all of them are doing what they think Christ wants. None of them, or I'm not going to say none of them because there are zealots, none of them or most of them don't go and say, yeah, he has fruits of the Spirit and he represents Jesus Christ and stuff like that. I think many Christians that follow him say, oh, he is definitely not a good person.
Yeah, like character-wise.
But God is using him because he's standing up for what I believe in.
Yeah. So what you're saying is policy-wise, a lot of people just reluctantly might have voted for Trump because of the more, let's say, the policies that are more consistent with the Christian worldview, but character-wise, not so much. Surely character-wise, from a Christian perspective, and let's let the Christians in the room weigh in. Surely character-wise, Kamala Harris was the choice, right?
No.
Yeah.
How?
I'm not. Oh, sorry.
But like how is Kamala Harris not a better choice character-wise than Donald Trump?
She supports abortion.
Okay.
I mean, that's a dead drop for any Christian.
Doesn't Donald Trump support abortion?
Why do you think I didn't vote?
Well, yeah, exactly. But I get what you're saying. Okay, Kamala Harris is like abortion for all. Donald Trump's like, well, leave it up to the states, which essentially means we're going to allow certain states to prohibit the ones that want to.
He does.
And
he
those
does.
women
He
don't get.
if he doesn't.
Niv, hang on. And those people don't get. Those people don't get access. Those women in need don't get access to it.
Well, I would.
If I could, I don't think she expressed her character enough, and that was one of the main reasons why nobody really voted for her, is because nobody really understood her. Nobody understood her character.
But surely, with what you know now, she has a greater moral character than Donald Trump, right?
I don't know, because it's still really hard to see exactly who she is. Yeah.
We're talking about
I'm the one with a strong opinion here, so I'm going to say no.
I've had a family for a long time. Like it's like I don't even know how to begin to think about this.
She wanted to give sex change to detainees that are illegal immigrants. Where does that even come from? Didn't make a sense, no sense to me whatsoever.
Is that actually true? Or is that just
it's Republican bullshit. What he just stated is Republican bullshit. Basically, what happened is Kamala Harris said in an interview about people who were incarcerated in California. She said, well, like if the government of California is offering these things to individuals, yes, somebody who's incarcerated in California has have these options. If you actually go and look at the quote that he's talking about, it is not nearly as nefarious as the right would like you to believe it is.
So I also want to point one thing out. Like, Kamala Harris has made some political decisions, like some of her criminal justice decisions. Some of she used to not support marijuana legalization. So there's these things to criticize her about. Like, we want to get to the tangible things that we can demonstrate and the evidence of her career we can look at. But when people say we don't know her good enough, like, are you kidding me? She does hours of interviews with all kinds of people, right? So the things you could point to about Kamala Harris that's bad, let's point to the real things, right? And compare them to Donald Trump, who's, I mean, at this point, everyone should agree that he is somewhat of a criminal mind, right?
No, I don't think so. But yeah, but I would say that something to the tune, the fact that Kamala Harris never passed the primaries. So when everybody, and you expect the nation to learn about them as soon as the current running president, as of just a few months ago, was running, and now they have to have Kamala Harris there, you can understand why there's a lack of education. She can get out as much as she can out there. She had about $1 billion in media, which I believe was more than Trump. It was just spent probably incorrectly in the wrong ways, but a lot of it was spent on a lot of entertainment as far as like shows and other entertainers. But when it came down to trying to get to know her, it's like, well, she's been vice president for 4 years. Not a lot of people have done research on what she's done, where she came from and how has she been lately, and we have to suddenly learn about her in 90 days.
No, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that was the case at all. She was out there all that. I just think you guys weren't, like, some of you weren't paying attention to her. Like, you weren't listening to her. She was everywhere.
I think all the information to know about her was out there, but you can't expect the average American to go out there and do all that research. They're just
Exactly.
gonna
So this is what I'm
go to the
saying.
biggest newspaper.
Well, they're not.
It's a very short time.
So I agree that the package,
the average American should look for this information. You absolutely should expect that.
You should, but it's not going
voters,
to.
Look. I think if we're talking about aughts here, what we wish the world was like, I wish people would go out there and research these candidates, right, and have a look at them, have a look at their character, have a look at what's in the record about their character, right? Kamala Harris has a clean record about her character from a records perspective, right? You could disagree with her about certain political decisions and things she has done, but she's a pretty she's almost too clean for a politician.
She's super clean.
But
is my mic broken?
No, we can hear you now.
No,
It must have been. We can hear it now.
Travis is talking.
But I was in the middle of something. But you guys, it's very important. It's not about you when someone else is talking. It's about the person who's talking. So please be careful not to interrupt people's flow when they're in the middle of delivering something. But anyways, my main point was that the information's out there everywhere about Kamala Harris forever. She's been a public figure for a very long time now. So many interviews, long form discussions, everywhere. And now we have people saying that you didn't really know about her until 90 days before the election, which just isn't the case. But I think what this speaks to is what I was talking about earlier, that the package, the promotion package behind her sucks compared to what the voting constituency needs to see at where the American people are at now. I wish it wasn't that way, but they need to do better at that.
That's a straw man to what I said. I feel like that's slightly a straw man.
How is that? Wait. How is that a straw man?
Well, because I was just talking about you're switching who you're trying to run, right? 3 months before the election, right? So, and you're expecting Americans to do that research. And as much research as there is capable, it's typically not how you would expect to get a win. It's not a good strategy because Americans, they're extremely busy and they do their research, right? But
no,
it's
they
also
don't.
You have to be able to.
That's not what the evidence. No, the evidence does not support what you're saying, Grim. They do not do the research.
Well, but they knew the last 3.5 years. They obviously were around for the last 3.5 years.
They know Kamala Harris.
They did not do what they promised to do. You know what she's promising to do in the future could have been done over the last 3.5 years. Hasn't been done. So, given that, hey. Let evidence speak.
Not Kamala. Not
if the last 3.5 years speak for itself.
Can we
Let's let Don hasn't gotten. Hang on, Niv.
If I could finish my thought.
Okay, let Grim finish, and then we're going to go Don after Grim.
Good.
Go ahead, Grim.
Anyway, if I could finish. So Americans do their research on who they're trying to vote for, but a majority of them, I would say, just don't. They're just very captivated. They could be swayed a lot, through media and entertainment, of course, and through narratives, and they get played and swayed. And when you actually look at the amount of Americans that actually do vote, right, it's actually not a lot of them too. So when you look at these things kind of at a base level, all you see is these mistakes that the Democrats are playing because that is the game. The playing field is even. And so if they want to switch characters, with after the primaries, it's not a good winning strategy. And that's what I'm talking about, is that lack of education around her, because it's not soaking in for people over a long time to actually fall in love with that person and try to see them in that leadership role. They have to fit that hero model as compared to somebody who's already in the spotlight, and then people start playing with it. People start yelling around Dwayne Johnson for president half the time. So people want to play with these characters for longer than 3 months.
We can go to the tape on that, but in no way was what I said a straw man, even after you kind of tried to explain it there, I think. But we can go to the tape.
Please, guys, I've been
Don's next. Yeah.
When we start speculating about why is it that Kamala lost, and we bring things like she obviously didn't capture the hearts of American people because it was last second. There's all these different calculuses we can try to make that makes a lot of sense to us. What we have to look at is objective data of why she lost. We have to look at exit polls. We have to look at actual scientific research about this, political scientific research of why she lost. It is true that she wasn't able to motivate 10,000 voters. If we look at the total voter rolls, about 10,000 voters didn't show up for the Democrats this time that showed up for the Democrats 4 years ago. That's a problem. Something happened there.
Mm-hmm.
This is true. But I mean, before speculating about people's internal motives or theorizing about social psychology and whether people did or didn't, whatever, all of this stuff, I think we're totally missing the point. That
what's the point then? Yeah, what's the point then?
The point is, as I think Travis clearly said earlier, that it's obvious the Democratic Party lost, and they need to figure out what it is that's happening because of whatever reason. But to start speculating, we're jumping off into nothing land, and we just consistently seem to bog down in these little hyper details that I think are not developing anywhere.
To me, I think the reason why Democrats lost is because we don't fucking fight the same way, right? Like, Democrats need to get a bit mean. Conservatives are fucking mean all day, every day. They're fucking there in the fucking trenches fighting. Democrats are going to try to be like, oh no, I'm going to show you this information. This information is going to sway you. Get the fuck out of here. So, politics isn't one. Politics.
He's not talking to you.
Star.
Stop with the divisive talk and demonizing the people. And then when someone's like, I'm willing to tell you,
demonizing anybody.
Okay, I'm muting Star for a sec. Star, he's talking about the voting constituency. That's what he's referring to. He's not targeting you, and you don't get to attack him because he's attacking like a group of voters, right? That's not the way it works here.
He's but the voters that actually voted that way, they don't get a voice.
Jesus Christ.
Star, you're not going to just yell into the mic. You can go after Scott's finishes point, then you can go. Go ahead, Scott. Finish.
The point I'm trying to make is, like, when people vote, like, you can show them all the specific polling data information all you want. When people vote, it's based off of feeling, period. No ifs, ands, or buts, right? Like, I mean, this has been shown to be true.
Okay.
Right? Like, people routinely vote against their own personal interests because they have some sort of feeling about something that they agree with, right? So you could see immigrants voting for Trump to deport immigrants, and when they're asked later, it's like, oh, well, do you have family who are undocumented? They say yes, and well, do you think Trump's going to deport them? No, I don't think that he's going to deport them. He's only going to deport the people that we don't like, right? This is not a rational position. This is an emotional position.
All right, so let's get Star's response, if she has one.
I had a response. I had multiple responses. It seems like everyone in here that didn't even vote for Trump was saying what Trump supporters do and think. And then when the one person who actually said, hey, group of people who didn't vote, this is what we think. The thing is,
Scott, you're trying to graft what Scott was saying onto everyone else. No one else was saying what Scott was saying. And by Scott, I mean Buck. So address Buck if that's what you want to address.
Okay. Buck, personally, as someone who was wanting to vote for RFK Jr., okay, and his stance being unite the divide, meaning not using divisive speech, staying away from the vitriol and the pointing fingers. We saw it from the left. From our perspective, it was from you guys. It was you guys villainizing us and trying to silence our voice that made us go and vote for Trump. People literally like you did it to us, right? You're literally going and saying everyone that is conservative thinks and we're horrible. Like, stop that. Stop with the divisive talk. It's literally what caused someone to get their ear shot. A presidential candidate.
You are literally doing the same thing, though. You are literally doing the same thing.
Now I'm angry because I tried to make all of my arguments earlier, and it kept on getting cut off. And Buck everyone who did it, who just
No, you're getting muted now. You did not get cut off because you were trying to make your arguments. Don't mislead things like that. You're on a 10-minute penalty. What were you going to say, Noel? Yeah.
Well, so in the chat, Goji was saying that he has something to add.
Oh yeah, Goji. Yep, fly at her. Thanks, Noel. You got to unmute Goji if you're talking right now. You're muted.
I have something to ask.
Okay, Goji is not.
I was joking.
Oh.
Goji, you should be unmuted. You should be able to talk, brother.
Yeah, you got to unmute
I did not
yourself.
mean to type that. I'm sorry.
I saw that.
I was just making fun of Noel, Travis.
Boji, let's do Pangburn Explorer.
He should have the role.
Boji.
Do you guys think that like
he spoke earlier.
American democracy is gonna fail now? Do you think it's gonna be like a controlled state and
I do not.
Authoritarian state?
No, I do not.
No. Do you think, it's just gonna be like a normal run?
It's gonna be 4 years of chaos, right? But it's still gonna be America. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's gonna be 4 years of America's favorite reality show.
I agree with Noel.
Exactly.
Right there, Noel. Right there. That is correct. It's going to be
It is going to be reality
of
show.
the Donald Trump reality show, and the great entertainer Trump won the great position again. That's the way I see it. He is. People might take offense to this, but he is the P.T. Barnum of our day and age. That's the way I see him, and he is the leader of the circus right now. Goji, it looked like you were able to unmute there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. I just wanted to say someone was freaking out about how the Democrats were censoring Republicans or something like that. And I just wanted to say, at least from my perspective, free speech is important and we should all be able to say what we want. But I also think that if a presidential candidate is just spouting blatant information and hate speech against another group, I believe that they should not be able to do that. But that's just my opinion.
It depends what you mean by hate speech. I'm not big on this label of hate speech. I think it's usually used to try and shut people's voices down who are just exercising their right to free speech, who have different ideas. And I think one of the worst things you can do if you are confronted with ideas that you detest, the worst thing you can do is try and push those ideas into the closet. Does nothing. All it does is allow those ideas to go unchallenged and allow them to fester. The best thing you can do is what we do at Pangburn. Put them on stage and have people, allow people to have discussions about them, and allow people in the comment sections and whatever to engage in good faith, helpful dialectic on them. I think this is the Daryl Davis method, and I think it's the way you need to go about the war of ideas. And what I find in this process is that the good ideas, by the standard of maximizing human well-being, are the ones that almost always eventually win out. So that's why I like this process.
I was going to say on that note, Trump did say that he is going to see if he can kick Section 230 around more and try to get it rewritten. Do you feel like there will be attack on free speech on the internet after that, or do you feel like it's going to get more free?
I mean, I hope he doesn't. I hope that would kind of be against what they're running on here, especially with his new running mate Elon Musk, to be like the candidate of free speech, right? So I would be surprised, but
yeah, I know Hillary was calling for it as far as certain censorships on certain platforms. But it's an interesting topic. I think as Americans, as my point of view, I guess, just from what I'm also hearing, is really unsure about net neutrality moving forward, free speech on the internet in private domains, right? That's nuance. We don't mind public areas. You can go outside and say whatever the fuck you want. You can do it on your property. You can do it on the street, and that's fine. But on the internet, it feels like it's just a constant debate, and I have no faith that it's just going to get better. No faith, because it's private areas, private domains.
Well, if that's part of the efficiency that Elon Musk is going to be in charge of, then I think it probably will get worse before it gets better, because he's the one that bought Twitter, now known as X for you younger folks. So yeah,
Nobody calls it that.
Yeah. I think that, with the ability to say inflammatory things so freely, the internet's a big place too, though. So there's a little wiggle room in between how bad it can get and just how big the internet is, and how many people you can actually reach out to.
Yeah.
Speaking of the internet, speaking of the internet, I remember hearing somewhere that in Project 2025, like their plan, they were going to try to ban internet porn. That's probably never going to happen.
Good luck doing that. I mean, yeah,
they won't let you.
Yeah, I mean, prohibition tends to always go one way. It's like people are going to find a way to do what they want to do anyway. And the best thing you can do is legislate or police against the things that are bad enough that you feel you need to police against.
Yeah, I remember hearing someone say that when something's legal, you can regulate it, but if you make something illegal, everything goes.
Mm.
Yeah, but we have to realize that their position is an immoral thing, and the reason they're calling for that is because they think it's like child porn. They put it on the same level as like they think it's exploitative and hurts people. They're not doing this. They're not doing it because they want to regulate it. They're doing it because they think it's immoral.
Hey, we've got something really nasty in the chat on YouTube.
Oh yeah, someone being yeah. I got him. By the way, everyone on YouTube, thank you so much for being with us today. We're discussing Musk and Trump, whether or not you guys think they're going to play fair politically. Because I mean, let's be honest, Musk has become quite a political figure now in the United States with his endorsement and kind of tag team approach to this campaign that was highly successful. So what do you guys think? You guys think these guys are going to play fair? Let me know what you think, and please just take a second to drop a like on this stream. It really helps the stream out. Yeah, so we were talking about let's go back here. We were talking about this Doge thing. We got through reducing bureaucracy. Cutting excess regulations is the second objective of this Doge, Department of Government Efficiency, which apparently Elon Musk has been appointed to. Eliminating outdated or redundant regulations that may hinder innovation or economic growth. I mean,
that's one that sounds good to me. I hate when government makes something illegal. It's so.
When you make it what? You're breaking up, CJ.
Yeah, 1 second. Always happens.
After CJ, can I go?
Yeah. Just go ahead now while CJ sorts his stuff out.
Sorry.
Well,
this is a big
it's
subject.
just a thing of.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead,
CJ.
Noel.
CJ's ready. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's just a thing of like, if this happens a lot with state laws and federal laws, especially with firearms. Right now, it's illegal to purchase a firearm from a 4473, a gun dealer, without a background check. And in my state, they made another law that says that you can't buy from a gun shop without a background check. Why are we making two laws for the same thing? The law already exists. Don't make a secondary law. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I see government doing that a lot.
Yeah.
YouTube chat.
Noel?
YouTube chat.
Yeah, I got it.
Chat.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring up something that was a fear of actually some of my friends. there was this it's kind of like a rumor mill kind of thing, right? It spreads around through certain parties, and it spreads around through, of course, the internet and whatnot. There are a lot of women under the impression that this is going to become a society like the Handmaid's Tale. And I wanted to get your thoughts on how likely a scenario like that would even be able to play out. Is that something that you think is possible? And also, how, if so, or if you don't think so, what is the likelihood of that ever happening within this country in the foreseeable future?
Well, which parts?
It's a dramatization.
Yeah, I mean,
what?
Which parts of the Handmaid's Tale do we want to address?
So, like taking the religious
the rights
extreme.
again, the rights away from women, kind of like what's going on in Afghanistan and Iran.
Yeah.
Niv, you're making noise again. Yeah, everyone, if you're not speaking, please mute. We get all of your breaths and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't see that happening. I think like I don't see Trump or who's now the popular guy, right? I don't see his camp to be anti women's rights outside of the abortion issue, and even at that, they still think it should be a state issue. Although when they say it should be a state issue, they understand that if it becomes a state issue, that a large amount of women in the United States are going to lose their right to an abortion. So I mean, besides that, no, I think there is love for women's rights and equality on both the Republican and the Democrat side.
I would agree. I think I'm not going to call it ridiculous. I think it's a fear that has been building for some time. This is kind of like a point of contention that's been spun by certain extremists in the Democratic Party.
I don't think that Trump necessarily cares to eliminate them in anything other than like maybe abortion, right? Like I don't think he's out there to go make breeding stock out of women or deny women the right to vote or their self-autonomy and getting a job and stuff. I don't think he's doing that at all. And he's elected several women to his. Good.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think if anything, Donald Trump has shown evidence that he's like kind of a misogynist by like a classical traditional standard, but misogynist doesn't mean anti-women's rights. So but I do think he is I think he's a misogynist in his own right. But also it doesn't mean a misogynist can't also put women in positions of power as well. For whatever reason, like it might just be a strategically smart thing to do, right?
Yeah, it's like the wives of the. Oh, I don't think that's what he meant. I think Travis was talking about like, oh look, I put this woman in power. When realistically, it's just a ploy to make people convinced that he's pro-women.
I actually think that like that happens sometimes on both sides of the political aisle, where people will be like, wow, we need, this is an opportunity for us to put a person of this sex, and usually within this context, we're talking about, where can we slot in a woman here if it's looking too male heavy, because you have a whole other half of the country of voters that you need to try to appeal to and try to show them that you are also there fighting for their rights as well, and wanting to govern the way they want you to govern. So and part of that is giving that presentation. So, I mean, this is all part of the packaging and the marketing of your campaign.
I agree.
That shit happens all the time in politics.
Yeah.
You're not so much selling an ideal as you're selling yourself, because it's more of a popularity contest than anything else.
speaking on that, I just would like to point out that when Kamala Harris would speak, it was almost disingenuous. Like, you couldn't believe a word she said because it was not very, like, she didn't seem genuine. And often when you would see her go and speak to, let's say, the middle city, like the inner city, she would then start sounding ghetto and have a ghetto accent. And then if she went to the wealthier people and she was talking to them, all of a sudden she sounded educated. If she went and spoke to the Indian people, she all of a sudden had an Indian accent. And if she went and she spoke to the Jamaican people, she pretended to be Jamaican.
I mean, I would have to look at these specific instances of what you're talking about, but like, I mean,
I saw her do it with black voters, but not with
everybody.
Like, it has been a politician's. This has been part of the politician's game forever to try and be like relatable to your audience, and I mean, like Trump does the same thing, right? It's like, you know, he's gonna.
I don't think so.
You don't think he does?
I think he stays on brand pretty well. Like I said, I think he's fake, but I think he stays. I think he stays on Trump brand. You know, this is who I am. I'm moving my hands this way. I'm moving. You know, like he's always that guy. I mean,
Trump cares about if you're a winner or a loser, and that's literally like, I'm a winner. Like, he's trying to win his dad's approval, right? And it's like he's always his terminology is like win-win, lose-lose, right? So you're either a winner or a loser, and he cares about optics. And I think most people can agree when they look at him, he seems a bit self-absorbed, right? And plenty of people acknowledge that, and they're like, well, then why did you vote for him? It's literally because people thought the other side was worse. And you guys keep on saying, well, why would you? And it, like, trust when I say that it's both the party. Like, everyone's like, well, why didn't you vote for Kamala because of her? It's her and her party. Like, Democrats need to recognize and accept that there's a reason we are being ran. Like, we don't, like, people who are willing to vote Democrat went and said, oh, hell no. We don't want it.
But the thing is so far, like, you've only brought up, like, she seems to speak in a different accent when she talks to certain people. And what you said before that was, she just seemed disingenuous. Do you have anything to bring to
her DA stuff? You know, that she did before she went in power and she was a DA is completely against what she claims she's for.
So,
like, you know,
okay, so
go ahead.
I would ask Star that with the immense amount of video data there is available of her doing impressions of different crowds, you should probably go find those and then post them, because I mean there are a lot. There are a lot of examples.
No, I want to see, like, is this part of her being like a? I want to see if it's her just being a dork. Or is this her, or is your claim that she is, like, somehow making fun of them? Like, what is the claim here about what Kamala Harris is doing when she uses a different voice? Like,
I have my own opinion on that, but I'm sure Star wants to.
Yeah.
Keep going, Star.
Keep manipulative. Like, she's manipulating different communities in order to be like, I'm one of you, and but in a very unhealthy way. And I like, and then there's just the whole, like, everyone loved Obama, right? You would think that when he spoke, they would have taken him seriously and been like, yay, Obama. But no, he comes out and tells the black men that if they don't support this black woman, you know, then they are racist, basically. And do you know, you like that? Yeah. And so it's not just her, it's her party, if that makes sense. It's not like it is her and it is her party. If you can do me a favor, Noel, you're better at looking stuff up. I'm really slow.
So your claim is did Obama that Obama told black men to vote for Kamala or else they're racist?
Basically, that was the gist of what he was saying. Like, how dare you? He was trying to shame them into voting Democrat. Otherwise, they were racist.
Before we get too sidetracked,
which is weird.
My point.
Go ahead.
I just gotta explain. Like when I was a kid, I used to want to be cool. I want to be a part of things, and so I would, if I was hanging around my black friends, I would talk a little more like street. If I was hanging around with my country friends, I'd talk a little more country.
That's what I was trying to say the whole time. Yeah, but I couldn't.
If I was hanging out with my Mexican friends, I would talk a little more, like a Latina accent. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It's like
you think a news anchor goes home and talks the same way.
So
sure. I get, absolutely not, because this is 11 o'clock news. See, I don't talk that way.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Of course they do. They'll be fake if they don't do that.
Hang on, I want to read this. I wanted to fact check what Star was saying here. So
yeah, go ahead.
Former President Barack Obama recently addressed black male voters, urging them to support Vice President Kamala Harris in the upcoming election. During a campaign event in Pittsburgh, he expressed concern over reports indicating lower enthusiasm among black men for Harris's candidacy. Obama suggested that some might be hesitant to support a woman for president, stating, "Part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president, and you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that." These remarks sparked a range of reactions. Some individuals felt that Obama's comments were condescending and unfairly singling out black men. For instance, former Ohio State Senator Nina Turner criticized the former president, saying, "Why are black men being belittled in ways that no other voting group is?" It's important to note that while Obama highlighted potential gender biases, he did not label black men as racist for not supporting Harris. His comments were aimed at encouraging reflection on the reasons behind their voting choices, particularly concerning gender dynamics. The discourse surrounding Obama's statements underscores the complexities of voter engagement and the diverse factors influencing electoral decisions within the black community. So the fact-checking resources that I've pulled up here say that there was no mention of race, but there was a mention of that, part of me, he said, kind of in a way, part of me thinks that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president, and you're coming up with other alternatives for that reason. So yeah, the woman thing was mentioned, but I don't know where you got the racism thing.
Yeah, Star.
I researched this too, and I didn't find it.
Was it his association with Joe Biden saying, like, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Was it Joe? But
you know what? I think I have to give Travis his due. I was misstating or misquoting. I do consider what he said, going and targeting them based on their race and saying, hey, you have to vote Democrat if you're black, be in this category. If you're not, you're like. There was this whole black people have to be Democrats, otherwise it's a problem. It seemed racist because you don't what if it was a white man up there, right, telling other white men they had to vote for the white lady? You get what I'm saying?
That was one of Harris's campaign things, is white dudes for Harris. That was a whole thing that she was doing.
I'm talking about when someone that we actually expect to be reasonable, because I think many people, whether they voted for Obama or not, whether people voted for Obama or not, we can say that he at least speaks a lot more logically than the candidates we've had recently. And when he comes forward and he basically takes how would you feel if an ex-white president like Bush, right, comes when a white woman is running for president and says, hey, white men, if you do not vote for this white woman, you are a sexist.
But again, Star, that's not what was said. What was said,
for example, Bill Clinton
targeting the black men and telling them to vote for the black lady. It's not cool.
Yeah, but again, you went back to the racism issue again. This isn't an issue of racism like I just read. It's the apt example would be if a white male ex-president came out and said, hey, white guys, it seems to me like you're just not wanting to vote for this white lady president because she's a woman, and you can't see a woman in the presidency. Like that would be an apt comparison.
And you don't consider there a problem with that?
No. I think there are I think that's. I think you're getting a little captured by the media blowing something up into a much bigger deal than it really is.
But I will say the main reason there's two. Because I was considering both sides. Me personally saw both sides as wicked, both sides as mean as hell, didn't like either side, but knew I had to make a choice between the two. Right?
But I would it's your right not to vote. It's your right not to vote.
I know you're saying that, Star. I know you're saying that, but
keep ponging back and forth. And what stopped it for me was what they did to RFK Jr. I would have voted third party if the Democratic Party didn't sabotage RFK Jr. on a massive scale. And that was a major thing for me. And I think Christians, because you had asked earlier about why would Christians do it, it was bad optics. Whether you agree with how she said it or whatever, it was bad optics to tell two Christian kids that they went to the wrong rally after yelling out Jesus is King because they were protesting abortion. That's going to piss off all the Christians and make even the Democratic Christians vote left.
Yeah, and it's a public space, so it is actually the space for it. So, yeah, I agree with that.
Well, it was not the time for it. It certainly was not the time.
Whatever the case.
But she said that this is not the place for you to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, she said place, but obviously she was talking about the time.
Well, she
place.
was talking about the place because she said place, so let's not read into things she didn't say.
And Travis, since you're so good at fact checking,
I've got to hold him to this. You're saying that Harris was saying that those people, those two guys, should have never been in that place, saying that those two
She
lines
told them to go down the road to the rally down the road. She said,
and then they were forcefully removed.
Yeah, but what's the
so what? They were.
What were they doing? They were protesting, or what's going on here?
Yeah, they were they went in there to they went in there to protest abortion, but they weren't doing it in an annoying manner.
Yeah, so and she said because this is how she feels, right? She told him to go down the road, right?
She was in the middle of her speech. They were heckling her.
Yeah. Like, so someone's heckling in the middle of your speech, like, you abortion bitch or whatever they're saying. It's like, no, I think you belong.
They weren't saying that.
I think you belong down the road. Like, that's just political rhetoric. Like, Donald Trump has said a billion times, a billion things more radical and off-putting and mean than that.
Absolutely.
Right? Like,
I agree with that
so
too.
like, but compared to Trump, that's a vanilla flavor, like dunk on a few protests.
It doesn't excuse it.
No, it doesn't.
Travis,
but
I don't have a problem with that. I mean,
you're really
I don't have a problem. I don't have
a
just two things. I don't have a problem when Trump does that either. Like if someone shows up to his rally and Trump's just like, "Get him out of here. We don't want him here." It's like he's rallying the crowd and he doesn't want those protesters screaming.
I don't agree with that either. I don't agree with either one of them.
Well, I believe in order. What's that?
It's not a public space.
Yeah, it is.
It's a speech. It's a speech.
It's a public.
And they have the right to remove. It's a speech, and they have a right to remove people that are interrupting their speech. Like, come on.
Yeah, because they don't have speech. Yeah, that's the way to promote free speech.
And it's also the way, whether it was acceptable or not, it was bad optics. Can you at least admit that, like, no time in history has any other president tried pulling something like that because they knew it would literally take, like, a group of people who support that viewpoint and force them to the other side?
Give me a break. Trump does that exact same thing all the time.
Yeah, he does. But there are consequences to it, and you have to acknowledge that.
I think he's wrong for it.
I wonder when.
Yeah,
I wonder when
too.
Donald Trump is going to actually pay the price for his crimes.
Probably never.
Probably in the next life.
Yeah, when he meets God. When he meets God at the throne, that's when.
Roasting marshmallows.
No,
that tastes like sandpaper.
Like everyone everyone listening, like I'm a law and order guy. Donald Trump has broken many laws. He's been caught already on 34 felony counts or whatever. There's probably going to be more. But I hope that those of you out there who are Trump supporters, would still want him to be held accountable to the law, right?
No.
Well, is the Democratic Party going to be held accountable for the crap they pulled?
Like what? Let's fact check it right now. I'll fact check it right now.
Okay. All right. So in 10 different states, RFK Jr. was trying to get his name on the ballot. Okay, and gathered enough signatures, more than enough signatures. Those 10 states were litigiously, the Democratic Party, holding up the process of getting him on the ballot in order to prevent him from running, which is going to piss off everyone that's a moderate and an independent.
So your claim is that the Democratic Party, purposefully
used litigious efforts in order to prevent the democratic process of allowing RFK Jr.
Her argument,
why?
Her argument is that the Democratic Party was blocking RFK.
Why would they do that?
Like 10 states.
Because they're jerks.
It makes no
sense. This doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense. It happened.
Well, I'm fact checking it right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
It would benefit the Democrats if he stayed.
It's screwing with the democratic process and the First Amendment and all of those, just screwing with it, and it like scares the red, white, and blue into action.
Okay.
Like, I'm sorry.
Here's what
the biggest issue.
Okay,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Let me just read this first. There have been several high-profile legal and political maneuvers involving RFK Jr. bid for presidency, primarily with the Democratic Party, but there's no official confirmation that the Democratic Party as an institution used direct litigation to block his candidacy. While Kennedy himself and some supporters have accused the party of using procedural or structural barriers to limit his influence, this is more complex than just litigation. In primary races, established parties often have mechanisms like ballot access rules, primary debate qualifications, and donor thresholds, which can be difficult for challengers to navigate, especially when they go against the party's likely nominee or the general direction. The Democratic National Committee, DNC, for example, faced criticism for setting debate rules and ballot access criteria that some saw as favorable to certain candidates. Kennedy eventually decided to run as an independent, citing these hurdles and perceived lack of fair treatment in the Democratic primary process. Running as an independent can bring additional challenges with ballot access, as each state has unique rules for third-party and independent candidates, and some states have high signature thresholds or complex filing procedures that can limit independent bids. Overall, while structural barriers and party rules may have impacted Kennedy's campaign, a claim of litigious efforts implies formal lawsuits or litigation specifically aimed at blocking him, and such actions do not appear to be documented in this case. So far, and there's 12 different resources cited here. There's no evidence that this is the case. And it doesn't surprise me because RFK doesn't give a shit about evidence when it comes to empirical issues. I'm sorry to say.
This whole thing is based on the assumption that the Democratic Party had some sort of fear that RFK was going to nominally change the election. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
as much as I love my third-party candidates, what was he going to do? Sway 2% of the voters?
Yeah.
Get 0 electoral votes?
But anyways, unless you have something else, Star. I mean, I think that's. I mean, to me
I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by a roommate right now.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time.
I gotta go. He doesn't look so good.
Okay, peace.
I gotta go.
Go ahead, Goji.
I find it kind of funny that the Democrats put a ton of effort into destroying RFK Jr.'s career, trying to make him look bad so people wouldn't vote for him. But I think wouldn't it be, there was a thing where more Republican voters would have voted for him. He would have taken votes away from Trump. So I'm not sure why they did that.
Yeah,
it kind of seems like he would be a Trump.
Amy Brown
secondary.
says, "Peace to you all. Good night." Yeah, thanks for everyone being here on YouTube. Make sure you guys drop a like. It really helps out the stream. We're just chatting about Elon Musk and the Trump duo. We got to hand it to them. They pulled off a massive victory here in the United States of America. When I say here, I mean over there because I'm Canadian. But sometimes I feel like I'm American by proxy. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys worry that Musk and Trump together in some way will try to undermine democracy?
I mean, I think he's kind of trying to undermine democracy in a way with Project 2025. One of the bullet points is make federal bureaucrats more accountable to the democratically elected president and Congress. I would think that we would need to be worded to the American people. I think that all government needs to be more accountable to the American people, not to the president and Congress specifically, but to all American people. I think it needs to be set in a stance of, well, yeah, you need to be held accountable by the American public because that's the way that our country was supposed to be set up.
Right.
And I reject the premise of the question.
All right. Let me know why.
Well, I think Trump and Elon, as much as you might ideologically differ, I think their genuine intention is to create a better America. And I don't think that they're going out of their way to undermine the democratic process.
Whatever.
What makes you think that that's Donald Trump's primary goal? Like if you were to map out with evidence what Donald Trump really truly cares about based on his actions, what would you bring to the table, and how would that be like America first for him?
So I don't think I have to prove every single good intention from Donald Trump. I mean, he obviously said
Travis, I think it's a bad question.
Well, I'm asking him for some justification for his claim that Donald Trump wants to make America a better place.
Well, I mean, he went through a 4-year election process where he was in charge of a country, and
sure,
and America's metrics all improved, didn't they?
No, they didn't.
At least a lot of them did, especially in the time just before COVID.
What are you talking about?
A lot of which can you be specific? Because right now, so far, you're just speaking in vagaries. Let's get specific here.
He inherited an economy from Obama, and then he tanked the economy. Is that what you're talking about?
Like one thing I'll say, evil. Like let's focus on. I'm not calling him evil as a pejorative or anything like that.
That's my name.
His name's Evil Monk. Maybe I should call him Monk. But if we can focus on like a specific area, I'm not someone who's going to say that everything Donald Trump has done while in power is bad. That's not me. But for instance, do you agree that he has a criminal mind?
I couldn't speak to his mind. I can speak to the actions. He's obviously at least crossed the line on a few occasions. What did you say? 34 criminal convictions?
Okay, so we agree that he's at least has, his criminal tendencies have caused him to act in a criminal nature, which he's been caught for. And okay, that's fine. It doesn't mean that a criminal...
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so right now there's a war in Ukraine and Russia where 1,300 people are dying every day.
Yes.
Who would you prefer on the front line? Someone with a slightly criminal mind that's a little bit sketchy?
Never Donald Trump. Never.
You don't think?
Donald Trump is probably the least.
Kamala to try and reduce that.
Donald Trump is probably the least trustworthy person on this planet, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't get that point.
Like I agree with Sam Harris. Hang on, Niv, 2 seconds. I agree with Sam Harris on his analysis of Trump's trustworthiness, and that's like literally 0 in my books. I wouldn't trust.
Why would you want to?
I wouldn't trust Trump to work for Pangburn. Not
well,
at all.
I don't trust either of them.
Why would you want somebody in the trenches with you that's
I would trust
untrustworthy?
Kamala.
That makes no sense.
Hang on.
Why
Niv,
would you
2
trust
seconds, I'll
someone
get
who
back.
didn't even win their primary to
Well, that's
shut
because
down the world's
popularity doesn't make someone competent. Like that's not what how this
No,
works.
but popularity does make you elected.
No. But
gives you a
that's
chance to be
that's an
competent.
obfuscation. We're not talking
He's
about
talking
that.
about competence.
But what I'm saying is that I think Harris would do about as good as Biden would on foreign policy, which I'm not. I don't think it's awful, and it's I don't distrust them to a level where I'm like I don't know what they're going to do next. That's a problem I have with Donald Trump, and why I couldn't. I wouldn't vote for him.
I understood the question as like, who would you rather have fighting by your side in war, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? I gotta be honest, I'd go with Harris because she's a little bit more fit and apparently she can work that quad.
No, he's asking leadership. I think.
Can I respond?
I'm happy with both, and I'm happy with the answer and argument for both.
By the way, Monk, is that your real face in your profile pic?
No, it's the Keck W.
Yeah. Anyways, we gotta let Niv get in here before he fucking explodes. Okay, Niv, go ahead.
No, don't let me get in there.
Do you really not want to talk, Niv?
Niv, come on.
No, I'm just saying. It makes his argument is like I want to. I don't get the argument of wanting an untrustworthy stabbing criminal person next to you.
I just don't define him that way. I don't define him
my back.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Yeah, Niv, he doesn't
I don't
obviously
define him that way, so that's a straw man.
I want that.
Niv,
I want him in the trenches with
Niv,
me.
you gotta. Monk doesn't believe him to be like a backstabbing whatever. So you know, like
he's not a super evil power. If he was, he'd just be a multi-billionaire. And
I don't think Donald Trump is evil. I just don't think. I don't think Donald Trump is evil at all. I think he's deeply untrustworthy, and but I also think that the United States of America is not going to crumble under Trump. It's going to be another 4 years of Trump like we had. There's going to be people that are upset with a lot of different things. There's going to be a lot of, I think there's going to be a lot of rioting, unfortunately, and I worry that there's going to be some. Well, I'm not going to say it live on the air, but I talked about this today. But I think there's going to be some political violence again. But
Evil Monk exposed himself. He says he'd like a bad guy to work for him, to do bad shit for him, because he will.
Yeah, he likes obedient people. Is that what you're getting at?
He likes the idea of a person just doing whatever they got to do, morals aside. For his benefit, but there's not a guarantee that bad guy won't F you. Right?
I'm just wondering how many presidents you think in America's history have led with purely moral intentions the whole way.
I'm not talking about presidents. You just said a dude like.
Niv, I don't buy the.
I don't care how the wars are shut down. I just want 1,300 people to stop dying every day in Ukraine.
Okay, but hang on. If we're going to start talking about Ukraine, it matters. It matters.
Please not.
Now he's sympathetic. You're full
Monk
of it, man.
brought it up, but it does matter who
God.
wins.
Full of it.
It matters who wins that conflict. It isn't just. It should matter who wins that conflict. It shouldn't just matter that people stop dying. There's going to be a winner to that conflict.
He likes the idea of a person being bad, and then he's talking about the poor.
And by the way, the Ukrainians should win that conflict. Does anyone disagree?
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree.
No one wants a war.
Why are you guys buying into Monk's BS?
Niv,
at one point, he's like,
why are you so convinced to have BS?
Niv, you got a 5-minute penalty, brother. I love you, but
if I have bad arguments, attack the argument.
Exactly.
Stop attacking me.
Niv knows better than that.
I'm just a dude with an idea.
Niv, you know better than that. Don't make me come down to Florida and spank your bare ass. I'll do it.
Herom Slava. Is that how you say glory to Ukraine? Or whatever. Slava Ukraine.
They should win, and we should care. And it's not just about stopping the deaths. It's stopping the tyranny.
Please.
Stopping the tyranny.
But I think there is a good point to be made about how peace is made, because if we make peace tomorrow between Russia and Ukraine, and we just ceasefire, but we don't do it in a way that's going to stop conflict in the future, then in 8 months from now, what's stopping Russia from starting it over again?
I think we need to, if there was going to be a ceasefire,
everyone loses more because it's war.
Okay.
If there was going to be a ceasefire, Ukraine just needs to be brought into NATO like ASAP, in my opinion.
I agree.
So you guys, these suggestions. These suggestions are all fine and dandy and great, and surely the great generals and leaders of the world have considered them. But have we considered a resolution that Putin can live with, or that Putin will accept?
No.
So someone bring that to the table, and I'm interested. That doesn't include, by the way, that doesn't include annexing Ukraine.
I think we have solutions that Putin will be forced to accept, and one of those solutions will be, if you want to stop this war, we can stop it. I would even be okay with ceding part of Ukraine, like the Donbass or whatever, or like the very eastern part, in exchange for joining NATO.
Well, the Donbass conflict has been
a good solution, but I think it's a solution that would work.
Yeah, but the Donbass region conflict has been going.
Russia.
It is literally deeply ingrained within the Ukrainian culture that we will not lose that region. That is our region.
Okay, well, we want to stop the war, so we're going to have to. Ukraine is probably going to have to give up something, unless they're going to make Russia just stop fighting, which I don't think Russia's going to do.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Goji, go ahead. Yeah.
I think that I'm not Ukrainian, so I can't fully speak for this, but I think that something along the lines of their pre-2014 agreement. Ukraine keeps all of the territory they had post-2014. They keep Crimea, but Russia is allowed to lease Crimean ports for their navy. That was their agreement before 2014, and I think that is a fair thing. Russia gets their warm water port. Ukraine gets their territory and Crimea. And then Ukraine gets to join NATO.
And you think, Russia's going to be okay with that?
That's illogical, won't happen, and it was already happening before they took Crimea. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, we know that.
But yeah, no, I agree with Star. Like I would just say I just don't think Putin will go for that. They've invested too many bodies and unfortunately, and too many resources into this war already that they are not going to leave that empty-handed. And that might not seem like an empty-handed proposal, but I could see the Russians laughing at such a proposal, and so like it's. Yeah.
My position, and it's horrible, but my position is basically telling Putin, you either get the hell out or we all start piecemealing Russia. That's how angry I am. I don't know if it's logical, but hell, like if he thinks he can annex other countries, why can't we? Why can't we annex Russia?
Well, because if you start playing that game of like, because they're doing it, we're going to do it, then we're regressing back to ancient Sumerian moral compasses of eye for eye morality.
I agree with Travis on that. That's absolutely.
Travis, I don't think that. Sorry, go ahead, buddy.
I just wanted to say that I'm worried that if you start trying to break apart Russia, then the Chinese are going to go for Siberia, and then they'll have all the oil. They'll be bigger. They'll be more powerful. And then
let them have it.
It's just going to be a stronger China that the U.S. has to deal with.
Well,
and I would rather take a weak, pitiful Russia over a strong China any day.
Well, I think
Travis, I think you're
sorry.
I don't think this. That I don't think you understand what that means.
Yeah, go ahead, Bucky.
I think you're making this assumption that we have to make a solution that is ideal, or even maybe not ideal, but like preferable for what's his name, the leader of Russia.
No, not at all. No, but let me be clear. I'm just saying that if we're talking about like, because everyone's starting talking about making a deal as though there's like a deal to be made that would like end the war in a way where people could get on with life. The reason why it's not settled right now is because there isn't. So So what does that mean? Do the Ukrainians need more resources to fight back? I mean, this is my best solution to this right now, based on my armchair understanding of it. Is that I think the best solution is that you keep pumping the Ukrainian people up with the most high tech war machine that you can pump them up with to rightfully defend themselves, but it has to be done on a much larger scale and a much more definitive scale. And if if Russia goes, full boots on the ground invasion, in a way that's total, then total war has to be the response. Now that's scary because everyone thinks that necessarily means nuclear war, but there are also ways to go about this war that doesn't necessarily mean nuclear war.
Okay. Well, I have a logical response, considering I really update myself almost daily on this particular war. First of all, Ukraine has been giving our weapons, but we are also limiting their ability to use it. I think we need to remove those limits. I think going after the Trans-Siberian Railroad and sabotaging it would be very useful, because that goes from one side of Russia to the other.
That would cut off your food supply.
Yep, it sure in the hell would.
That's Star. You know that's not right.
Yeah,
what they're what they are doing. We're on YouTube. But they are at this point, the Russian military today, is doing something called human safaris, where they are going and they are finding civilians with their FPV drones and using them as target practice, hunting them down. Yep. And these civilians are using tree cover in order to hide from them, and the leaves are falling, and the leaves can't even protect them anymore. Yep. They are committing war crime after war crime after war crime. So if some people go hungry, so be it. I'm tired of it. Like Victory Gardens, whatever. Cut them off.
Yeah, those kinds of pressures, though, like there are certain things to consider in war that sometimes cutting off supply lines and in certain cases, not in all cases, like what you're saying is not always going to be the wrong decision to try and turn the course of a conflict, but I do think that it's you really have to be careful that you're not creating a massive let's say a famine in a certain part of the country for reasons that are not going to turn the war at all, but they're just going to further inflame the issues that are already happening. So there's, I guess what I'm saying is, like, sometimes you can do these things that make strategic sense in like, okay, we want to put pressure on here, but what it's going to do to the morale of the Russian people and to the Russian war machine might not be something you want to see, unless your goal is to trigger a total war, right?
Also, what you're talking about is not as easy as I think you think it is to disrupt an entire train line. What do you think is going to happen? Ukraine is going to bring bombers into the middle of Russia to blow up a train line or train tracks?
Well, in my immaculations, where I'm imagining it in my head, I'm imagining some kind of black ops group going in there with some bombs and explosive and stuff, and creating some kind of mudslide or rock slide or collapsing a tunnel or something like that makes it where it's not easily repaired. That's what I'm thinking.
You would have to melt the tracks. You'd have to hit anywhere between like 2,500 and up degrees.
Well, I think she means like blocking the tracks with rubble and stuff.
Sure, but how about doing what? Yeah, but sure. How about doing what always happens when war ends? Is the first thing that happens is a ceasefire. Then a third party comes in. to mediate between the two sides, and then they spank their bottom with sanctions, and then what happens is they make a peace treaty, and we go on about our business. So that's what always happens is people sit down at a table and they talk about it, and then the dying stops.
And that works with reasonable people. Trump isn't reasonable.
Or we ended.
You voted for him, not me.
Or I didn't say, I meant Putin. Putin isn't reasonable. But yes, I'm also concerned about Trump, and I am concerned about them having a dick tossing contest. I don't know.
Was that a mistake, or was that a Freudian slip?
It's both of them. I really don't like, you got to understand. I keep on saying I voted for the lesser of two evils, and I do think Trump is wicked.
I want to.
You guys keep on thinking that I praise one guy because I voted for him. It was literally.
I want to quickly just say hello to our beautiful YouTube audience. Hey everyone, we're having a great time here, having conversations. We do this basically every day in our Discord server. Everyone is welcome to join us. At Pangburn, we try to moderate based on the two basic rules of good faith and helpfulness. So if you come to have conversations at Pangburn, you got to be good faith, which means, and by that we mean that you are sincere with your intentions to have good conversations. And helpfulness just means, you try to be helpful with one another. If an example I use is, if someone's struggling in a conversation and they're struggling to make the strongest form of their argument, reach your hand out and help them up and help them present the strongest form of their argument so you can contend with the strongest form of their argument. So we have these basic principles that govern what we call the Pangburn Universe. If you're new to Pangburn, I hope you subscribe. If you're not subscribed yet, we produce live intellectual discussions, staged discussions in front of live audiences all around the world. And we just dropped a new conversation that was actually a lot of fun. I just got back from Colorado, and we had philosopher Stephen Hicks and physicist Lawrence Krauss on stage. And we had a hell of a time. A bunch of us from our Discord server actually went down to Colorado, and we had a really good time. It was nice to meet everyone. Someone said, you mute people. Yes, we mute people who are crossing the line, because sometimes within the course of a conversation, people's passions have them step over that helpfulness or good faith line. And as moderators, we just try to correct people. It takes quite a lot to get banned from Pangburn. We always give people chances to come back. But ultimately we just want to have nice, clean radio conversations for people who want to stop by and listen. So you're all welcome to be a part of it. One other thing I'll say is thank you so much to everyone who supports Pangburn, because we were able to just give away 1,000 Pangburn pieces of merch. So we gave away 1,000 hoodies and t-shirts down on Hastings Street, which is our homeless district in Vancouver. And we're coming up on one of the coldest, most stormy winter seasons here in Vancouver, and we were able to do that. So that's all because people just support our channel so much here. So thank you so much for the support. We are going to be doing our annual food giveaway for Hastings Street as well this year, so stay tuned for that. Today we're talking about Musk, this Musk and Trump duo that, Donald Trump very maybe this is his wisest move was getting in well with Elon Musk and making him a part of his campaign this year. I think it really did push him over the edge in a big way. So do you think Musk and Trump are going to play fair politically in the United States? That's kind of what we've been talking about today, and we've been trying to deal with this new Doge Department of what is it again? Department
of Government Efficiency.
Department of Government Efficiency, and everything that has been going on with that. And so feel free to let us know if you guys are seeing this after, what you guys thought of the conversation. And it really does help us out if you guys drop a like on the stream. So And thank you for that. But let's move from because we talked a lot about Elon Musk for a while there, and
I want to talk about Trump real quick.
Yeah. Let's talk about Trump, and sure. Go ahead, kick it off, CJ.
Yeah, I keep hearing this thing from a lot of people that voted for Trump about, I was forced to vote for a lesser evil, and there's this person that I think is evil, but I voted for him because I thought he was the better evil. I just wanted to say, when I voted, I didn't vote for someone that I thought was evil. So maybe in the future, just don't vote for evil people. And if you voted for Trump as a lesser evil, then do you really trust him with your government? I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, that's
and luckily for us, he's in.
I didn't see either one of them that I could agree with and take on the responsibility that would go forward into the future in the presidency. And so I didn't. That's why I didn't vote. And it would, like I said before, it was because of the Joe Rogan experience interview.
I also came from the logic of one of them can have 4 years and one of them only can, and one of them can have 8. And and there's like, if I consider both sides evil, right, and one side is capable of being in power twice as long, I have to also work in that frame of mind too. But no, I definitely feel like we are screwed either way, and I had to try to figure out which way we were screwed less. Like, I don't trust Trump. I don't think he's a good person. I think he's a horrible human being. It's literally, and when it comes to Kamala, yes, I don't like her, but there's also her entire party. No offense to you guys, but I guess I shouldn't say entire party. I have no problem with moderate Democrats. The progressive far left definitely chased me away from the Democratic Party.
More excuses about voting for evil people.
Okay. If both sides are evil, and it's not one person, it's their entire, you have to vote for the party. It's not just, there's a cabinet involved, and there is policies that are going to be enacted involved. And so if I think the Democratic Party is evil and their leader is evil, I have to take that into consideration. You might have thought that someone else was great and the other side was horrible, but the way I saw it, they were both horrible.
I voted for one Republican, and it was my county clerk. I didn't vote for any other Republicans or Democrats.
Why didn't you vote for them?
Because I know the county clerk, and they do a decent job. I didn't vote for them for partisan reasons. I know them, and they do a good job.
That's cool.
That's why I voted for them.
But you said you didn't vote for, Republicans or Democrats on anything else? You voted third party on everything?
Yeah, or I just didn't vote.
Okay. I think it is important to be you don't have to vote for every issue if you don't know every issue, or, you don't have to go, I'm voting for the Democrat because I don't know this part, if you don't know the Congress people or whatever, you don't have to vote Democrat, or you can leave it blank.
You should know who's on the ballot before you go in there. I know the vast majority of Americans don't do that. You should know.
The vast majority of Americans don't know everything on every topic, every issue, and every person, right?
Well, the vast majority of Americans have Google, and your ballot is known months before it comes out. Go research. You've got 2 years before your next election. Go do some research. That's for everyone.
I pop in.
But as for, do we trust Trump to do we trust Trump to be in the vested interest of America as opposed to himself? I think that's a separate question. And I would say no.
He makes friends with dictators.
Well, okay, but I think that he does love his family. I do believe that, and I believe that.
Which one?
That is. I think that's important to him. I think family is important to him, and I think that those types of family issues are going to be important.
I agree. Look, I agree. I'm not a Trump supporter or anything like that, but I do agree. Trump is not a demon. He's not an evil person. He loves his family, supports his family, and his family seems to adore him for the most part. And he is a difficult person. No, I know it's funny, but CJ, do you get the point of he's a human being, a father of children, and he wants the best for them and he loves them, and he receives love from them.
I know. I kind of find it hard to. I kind of feel it's hard to believe that he might love the ones that he's currently with, sure, but I feel like it's very evident that with his past with relationships, that there's an issue there.
Well, yeah, of course there's an issue. Like, no one's gonna hear. I don't think anyone in this room would deny that that he has a history of problemed relationships. But I'm just saying, like what he would consider his family circle right now. Like, there's love there. Like, I mean, you do think he's like capable of love and receiving love, right?
Not in the way we do. I'm of the perception that he has more of a egocentric view on love, where they are aspects of his own character. He likes it as long as they're mini hims, or they support him, or they obey him.
Well, I think we're getting into a lot of like analysis, like mind reading here, right? Like, I don't think we have this evidence.
Okay.
So I just, and you guys don't have to believe the same way I do, but when I hear stuff like this, it's like Trump is a guy. He's a guy I don't trust. I think he's a smart guy. I don't think he's a wise man. He has some intelligence, but not a lot. But I think he's still like a father, a son, a brother, and he's a human being. He's not a psychopath. He doesn't have psychopathic tendencies. He's
maybe narcissist.
Yeah. He definitely has some he definitely has narcissistic tendencies. And I don't think there's any question about that. But he's not a demon. He's not an evil man, in my opinion. Even though I'm politically, I'm against what he promotes and stands for the most part. But that doesn't mean we have to not be able to recognize the man's humanity.
Okay. Travis, can people, when they make a claim, can back up it? Could support their claim instead of just saying lesser of two evils, like on what standard, on what metric? It just sounds like they're saying something and not saying nothing at the same time. It just be appreciated, like, if you explain yourself every time you make a claim. Is all.
Well, no, yeah, I do think that I still haven't heard much of substance on like how Donald Trump was the lesser of two evils. Like, that's, and I think it seems like Noel was kind of like, he just decided not to vote for the reasons of not being able to find good reasons for voting for other. He just decided to stay home. So and that's an interesting thing, like, with the democratic process is, do you guys like, and this is a question for the room, do you guys see it as like a very bitter situation when you feel as though you have to stay home? Do you think that's a really negative thing, or do you think that's just part of the process, that sometimes in a democracy you're going to feel inclined to stay home?
I think it's part of the process. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm bitter that
not voting
these
is
were
the
our
best thing.
choices. I'm bitter.
Not voting is a vote.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it's an abstain.
Hugh says not voting is a vote. Do you guys agree with that?
No.
Yeah, freedom of speech is the freedom to not have to speak.
Well, yeah, but no. It's not the same thing, because it doesn't count. He asked, does it count if you vote? And it's no, your vote no longer counts, you threw it away. Because I was considering doing that, like not voting, just like Noel did. I was literally considering that, but I considered it a responsibility, because if I did nothing, then that's because I won't be counted. My voice will not be heard in any way.
Can somebody tell me, like, how strategically, how does that work when you don't vote? If I was given that, I could understand, like, okay, now they'll come to us eventually, because but just my fee. I don't just come on.
You could theoretically go to the polling station and not put anything on your ballot card and put in an actual abstain by doing that. Like,
I'm asking the strategy behind it is all I'm asking for.
By not voting, abstaining is
strategy behind not voting.
Either of them. You can't get behind either of them. So fuck them. Write someone else in.
Yeah, I'm not going to vote for somebody I don't agree with, because I'm taking on all of the policies that that I would be agreeing with, and I don't agree with all of their policies. I didn't agree with all of her policies. I didn't agree with all his policies.
I was
Our
concerned that she was
Congress
going to destroy the country from within, and he was going to destroy the country from without.
To respond to neither, agreeing with neither. One is going to, they're not 100% the same. One is more of than the other. You can say, I don't like
if you
this
didn't
person.
speak over
Don't
me, I
interrupt
would
me,
have
please.
finished it. I would have finished my statement,
Let's
and
go
you would have understood.
Let's go one at a time. Hang on.
pause.
Let's go Star and then Niv.
Okay. I was saying, so that you don't misinterpret me, I was saying that I felt like the Democratic Party was going to destroy, and not just Kamala Harris, but her entire party was going to destroy the United States internally, right? And I felt like the Republican Party was going to destroy us geopolitically. And
I wasn't responding to you.
Let her finish, Niv.
Let her finish, Niv, and then you can go.
Okay, and so my choice was destroy the Constitution of the United States, as I see it, or destroy what it means to be America and have the red, white, and blue, or destroy our relationships with other countries. That was one of my thought processes, and the other one was which one will do more harm. And it was like, well, one has a limited time, and one has twice that amount of time.
Okay. Niv?
Yeah, I was just responding to the strategy behind, and somebody was saying like, "Well, I don't like either," and I was saying, you could like one thing and not like another, but there's still more you could like about one than the other. And they're not going to be 100% equal to what you, somebody's going to always lean more to what you more agree with than the other.
Okay,
and you basically vote that way to who you can more influence more that you more favor.
Yeah, but abstaining is an option here, and if you ask me whether if you come up to me and you ask me, oh, should I kill your neighbor with a knife or a gun? I can just abstain. Like, it's no one's forcing me to pick which one. They're both bad. It might be worse for my neighbor to, or for someone to kill my neighbor with a knife because it might take longer, or he might bleed more. But I can still abstain, and our current Congress members abstain when voting all the time. So if my Congress member can abstain,
if you abstain, it's still a choice. And you're not. It's a trolley problem where we're talking about. You're saying like, I'll just let this happen, this bad happen.
No, you're saying I'm not picking a choice here.
There's more. There's one that's more bad, and there's one that's less bad.
Now to think about it, you did choose not to pull the lever when we had the trolley question the other day, so that does make sense for you, Sweet Pea.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm just over here twiddling my thumbs.
Huh?
Yeah, I agree with CJ. I wouldn't pull the lever either.
The trolley problem isn't a perfect allegory because if you don't pull the lever in the trolley problem, it's going to go one way.
Well,
in this case, if you don't vote, it can go either way. So it's not a perfect allegory.
It is a perfect because this person if it's going to go the way. If it's going to go the way you don't want it to go, and it's going to go that way regardless, and there's something you could have done to prevent it. Yes, it is a good example.
Well,
it's more about me. It's more about me at that point because then I don't mentally and emotionally have that responsibility anymore. I can say, well, I'm not the one that made this atrocity happen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, the real allegory would be that there's a trolley going, and there's 1,000 people on that trolley, and now there's one person on one side of the tracks and 5 on the other, and the trolley is going to go whichever way the people vote. But also, the people can tie or just not vote at all. And maybe I just want to let everyone else decide this decision. Maybe I don't want to be part of this decision.
Well, I know when we get to
maybe I want the trolley to drift on both tracks and crush both of them.
I know when we get to the trolley problem, it's time to head down to the tavern. I'd like to thank everyone here that contributed to the conversation today. I love you all. Thank you for being here. I love having you all at Pangburn. It's what I love to do, and I can't do it by myself. So thank you all for being here. Everyone on YouTube, please make sure you drop a like on this stream before we shut down here. We really appreciate it. We're going to, almost every day we are live with a stream like this for you guys. Do check out the Pangburn live event content. You'll find it in our video stream. And yeah, we're all about giving people a platform for exercising their freedom of speech. And we have some dialectical rules that help us keep things sane. But yeah, you are all welcome to join. Here's the Discord link one more time. And as always, let art and science inspire. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.